think I should be good on all fronts. Okay, perfect. Okay. Bring me up. Okay. All right. Good. Oh, which reminds me, I have to go this way. Okay, there we go. All right. Can we hear me? Can we see me? Are we good? Can we good? Can we good? Can we hear me? Can we see me? Let me know. Give me a smoke signal. Let me know what the dealio is, quality wise, all that good stuff. Let me know. What's going on, Henry? How you doing? I got YouTube over here. I got TikTok over here. Yes, YouTube over here, TikTok over here. So yeah, how we doing? How we doing? Profilo's in here. You're first, indeed, indeed. How you doing, Kareem? How you doing, man? Happy to see me. Happy to see you, brother. KD, yeah, type shit, type shit. What if we start a supplement company called Pookie Bear Nutrition? That's funny. Why not? Supplementation is important as long as it's done correctly. Anyway, the light, the setup is perfect. Clear, type shit. Good, 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 good. We're in the house today. We did the park thing earlier, but yeah, we're in the house right now, chilling. I had to. Oh, I forgot to open up the windows, but that's fine. I had to black out the windows a little bit so I could really focus. The 21st wasn't as crazy as I was hoping. Oh yes, it is. You're expecting overt drama and stuff. Nah, that's not what you're supposed to be looking at. Trust me. Then went to the club. Unfortunately, no one I really liked. What are we talking about? Oh, I probably missed one, Juice. Huh? I don't know if that's English. Write that again for me. Let me see. Had a realization I need to take more experiments in my life. Good. What's going on? Hey from Ireland. How you doing? What's going on with the Irish today? Ireland. I like saying that word. Ireland. Ireland. um, Tried to join Scooch Community, but it didn't let me. Apple Pay wasn't working or something. Oh, that's unfortunate. It happens. Um, School as a platform isn't, you know, up to par with every single thing quite yet, unfortunately. But you should be able to use a different form of payment if that's something that's not available to you. Then that's fine. We can just use here in the meantime. But yeah, how you guys doing today though? What's going on? I hope you're having a wonderful, productive day so far. I hope things are going well for you. I hope you're doing exactly what you plan to do today in the manner and light and intention and nature that you plan to do it in. Okay? Let's begin. Today's a very special day. Today's a very, very special day. It's very important what's happening and going to happen later today. So keep your eyes peeled. And I'm just really here to remind you guys not to get distracted. It's very important that there's a lot of things that'll be happening that'll try to get your eyes and your mind to focus on things that don't matter. And your job is very simple. Don't allow anything, especially today, to sway your emotions. It's very important you keep that especially in check. You from India? How you doing, Gokul? From India. Um, I approached the girl yesterday. Unfortunately, she was 18. Type shit. That mentality of if you can get a girl alone with you, just assume she likes you is exactly what I needed. From what we talked about yesterday in the whatchamacallit, in the school community, yes. Casanova said, unfortunately. Yeah, I was about to say that too. Like, what do you mean, unfortunately? I don't know. Maybe you meant to say fortunately, but you spelled that wrong. I don't know. I don't know what's so unfortunate about dealing with an 18-year-old Especially if you're as young as you are, Perfilo. I know you're not that much older yourself. So what's the issue? I've missed two chances where kissing on the hand or cheek would have changed everything. Indeed. Since school ain't an option, can we chop it up about high ticket sales again here? Sure, why not? We can kick it off with that. Where were we yesterday with regards to high ticket sales? And for those of you that want to get into high ticket sales, it's very important you learn that as a skill, right? Even if you don't see the value in high ticket sales, it's very important that you learn that as a skill because the way to make money in general is to add value to other people, and sales is just the system, the process that we use for helping people identify value, helping people solve their problems, and that's what high ticket sales is all about. It's just what makes it different is just the amount of money they have to pay for whatever problems that you're helping them solve, and that's why it's called high ticket. But I don't want you to think about it like I don't really like the word high ticket sales. I really don't like the word because it distracts from what it actually is. It's not that it's high ticket as in you're trying to get them to pay more money. It's high ticket as in the quality of the problem they have is a little more complex. And so the real skill of high ticket sales, to break it down and to really summarize it for you, is to help people with complex problems and help them solve those complex problems. Right? Helping people solve a low ticket problem is very different than helping people solve a high ticket problem because of the complexity of the problem and usually the people's relationship to the problem and how they're seeing it and how they're handling it. And your job is to come in there and help things get a little better. You feel me? So yeah, that's what high ticket sales is all about, baby. Fish on me was right. It's hard to think it's easy. It's hard to think it's easy when you're starting out. Is that what you mean? Yes, that's what he said, and he's very correct about that. Give me some advice. There was a pain point about fines, but it lacked urgency. Okay, so the solar thing, right? Speaking of, solar panels, we're about to have a solar eclipse. Um, okay, so if you remind me if I'm wrong, the major objection you were facing is the lack of a time constraint. The negative consequences to not buying your solar panel was that they would have to wait till 2027 for government intervention, something like that. Like they wouldn't be able to feel the negative consequences till 2027, which would naturally breed the objection of I'll just do it later, right? 2 years from now. Okay, not much you can do about creating a sense of urgency from the point of view of the government in terms of like trying to get the government to intervene faster. But you can definitely create some kind of leverage or some kind of positive outcome for them to do it quicker, right? You just have to create something in there. And I don't know if this is something that you'll have power over, but you can definitely begin to help to reframe the offer so that it looks like it's better for them to cash in on it now as opposed to later, right? That's what we were talking about yesterday, right? Let's see. Have you seen the Louis Vuitton Ghana Must Go Back? Yes, I have. It was sent to me by someone that I'm very close to. It was very funny. But isn't that what luxury branding is? It's taking something that's peasant and making it luxury by slapping a brand or a logo behind it. That's just smart marketing right there. And people will eat it up. I don't think any Africans will eat it up because, we know where to get Ghana Must Go Backs for cheap. But yeah, people that have never seen a Ghana Must Go bag or have never interacted with that before will definitely eat it up. It happens all the time. Like what's the difference between that and the people that sell these luxury African net sponges on TikTok? Same concept, same thing. I get my African net sponges from my local. I have a guy, I go to. Actually, it's a guy that helps his mom run the store. So it's really his mom that's the owner of the African business, the Senegalese guy. And I get African net sponges for like, $10 for a 20 pack. They're very cheap. But you get them on TikTok Shop and they're put in these fancy packages and they're shipped directly from Nigeria and people are paying up to $30 for them. It's a lot of profit. But that's how it works. When people aren't aware, when people don't have direct contact or have a means to directly interact with something, they'll pay extra money for it. That's just smart marketing. Can't hate on it. It is what it is. I gotta go to YouTube. Let me show YouTube some love. How y'all doing, YouTube? I love you guys. What the fuck? Any chance of leaving some women for us? No, no, I want them all. Baddies are always around other men. I don't mind approaching, but I'm scared of stupid, unnecessary altercations. That's because you're scared of making friends with other men. You see, you don't want to see, in general, the other people in her group, men or women, as obstacles. You want to see them as helpers. You want to see them as friends that you can use to not only make you look better, but to help you to get closer to her and to help you isolate her with you later on. So I never treat the other guy like I'm there to be a fucking adversity or adversary to him. I'm there to be the guy that he helps to make me look better. Whether that's in a negative or positive light or positive way, I mean, one way or the other, he's going to make me look better. Either by becoming a fan, and you know, the better you get at game, the better you have that effect on people. People just instantly want to be on your side, or by trying to fight you and you know trying to create conflict with you and you not engaging, which automatically makes him look weaker than you, right? When the other guy is more reactive than you are, you look cooler by comparison, and that's so easy to do for most men, especially. So yeah, it's not hard to do. Walk in there, say hi, be inquisitive about the relationship that you're dealing with in terms of like the girl and the guy involved. Ask them like, are you guys together? What's going on here? You guys look alike. Are you brother and sister? And then allow boundaries to be set so that then you can begin to maneuver the situation. But it's very easy. You know, it's very easy. You go up to the guy, compliment him, go up to the girl, you know, shit on her. In fact, the best way to go about doing it, by the way, if you're to meet a guy and a girl, is to become so good with the guy as in friends with the guy that both of you end up creating a camaraderie shitting on the girl. Right? So it becomes, oh, man, you're such a fucking cool dude. Why are you hanging out with this weirdo? Who's this? What did you say your name was? I don't want to know. And then you talk to the guy like he's the main character. Heads gets, you know, it swells, ego gets boosted up, and then he lets his guard down. And then you go, by the way, you know what? I've been mean to her for a little bit. Mind me and her talk for 2 seconds. And because you've been hyping him up so much, he'll look like a dick to say no. And that's how you get her isolated. See? So kill him with kindness is a very real thing. And it works especially well in game. Just so you know. Just so you know. Um, um, I've got tinnitus E. That's so unfortunate. Sorry to hear that. Is this about women or business? Both. We talk about everything here. Uh, what are you tall? I don't know that. What are you tall? If I am tall, it depends on who you ask. Just slip it in already, bro. I still remember that night. It was cold. Is someone writing a whole gay erotica in my thing? That's so funny. It's so weird how that works too. You would think TikTok would be like the more immature app, but I find that most of the time the trolls are on YouTube. How interesting is that? That's so weird. I would expect these type of things to happen on TikTok, but no, it's not as common as on YouTube. Every time I go live on YouTube, someone's being weird in the comments. It's so interesting. Um, let's see. Replace the cross with Ankh. Ankh, as in the key of life. I'm well aware of what that is. It's stupid to replace the cross with Ankh because the cross and the Ankh key of life mean two entirely different things. And there's a reason why I'm wearing this cross. There's a reason. There's a reason I have the cross symbolized. There's a reason, you know, it means something to me. And I get that a lot of Christians don't even know what it means, unfortunately. What the cross means, they probably think it means, you know, they're representing Jesus Christ somehow or his sacrifice. And those things can be true. But that's not why I'm wearing the cross. The cross is a lot more significant to me than that. And way more significant to me than the Ankh key of life can ever be. Just me being honest. Um, let's see. Or they wish to fail. Cool. What are we talking about? Thank you. I usually like to approach the woman first, and if it goes well, I become friends with the rest. I'm a minority. You being a minority doesn't mean anything. It doesn't. Um, it doesn't factor in as much as you think it does. That's one. Two. Always approach the other people in the group first. Honestly, you kind of want to approach the entire group first, and then start, you know, going into each person one by one in terms of like trying to introduce yourself to them. But never approach the woman you want first. Never. It's a bad idea. It's you trying to circumvent the natural obstacles that should be in the way whenever you're dealing with a woman in a group. You should address the group first. It doesn't matter how well you click with the woman, right? The group has logistical power over her that you don't yet have because you're just a random guy she met, and she's going to take the word of the people she's been hanging out with longer than some random guy she just met. So appease the group, get the women. I have a video I just posted about it on my TikTok where I talk about this very thing. If you run into a woman that you find attractive and she has a friend that is like the quote unquote fridge protecting the snacks, right? Don't treat the fridge like a fence that you have to jump or go under or through or over or whatever. Treat the fridge like a friend. Make friends with the fridge will open up, and that's how you get the snacks. Okay? That's how it works. Always befriend the friends. It's just easier that way. Let's see. Perhaps you have suggestions on creating it. I would have to learn a lot more about like the business, how it works, how it actually serves people, because that's what you're asking me to do. You're asking me to do your own market research for you. You know, that's what you got to figure out. Okay, I'll give you 3 pillars to really look out for. One, you have to figure out the POV of the customer you're dealing with. All right, figure out what problem they actually have, and once you understand the problem they have from their own perspective, their own psychology, then you can figure out how to create the offer or at least adjust the way you're presenting it to make it make sense for them so that you can increase the sense of urgency naturally. So for instance, you and I, as for what we know right now, we might be assuming that the ultimate negative consequence is government intervention in 2027. But if you look deeper into the entire structure of the business and what it actually serves people, it might be that the negative consequence is something else. I don't know what that could be because again, I don't know much about the business, but I'm sure it's in there. I'm sure there's something else in there that you could use to really get people to have a little greater sense of urgency when it comes to like cashing in on the offer you're trying to put in front of their face. That's one thing. Their actual POV. It matters. The second thing is the deliverables, like how you actually go about solving for that particular problem that they may perceive from their point of view. So again, let's say, should I come up with an analogy on the spot? Let's say there is some kind of adverse negative consequence that existed that you haven't found out yet, and you find out about it. Now you have to also figure out how to present the offer in such a way that it solves for that problem, so you stop having that same objection over and over and over again, right? And then the third thing, obviously, would be to over deliver, value stack, which is here's what you can get if you cash in now. Here's all the positive things that happen, and then here's the extra things you're gonna get on top of that, so it makes the deal even more of like a no-brainer. Right? You want people to be like, okay, I'm already getting this amazing thing if I'm paying this amount of money for it. But on top of that, I'm getting even more and this and this and that and that. Holy shit. Now I would be stupid to not buy. Does that make sense? The government thing is the main pain point. Other than that, there's more pleasure points than pain. Okay. Can you create another pain point? Right? Because I disagree with that. There's never just one pain point. It's always one leading pain point and then a bunch of side pain points. So the government thing can be the leading pain point, that's for sure. But what about the fact that it might become harder to install later on for whatever reason? Whatever harder means. Maybe it will take longer because now there's an influx of other people and there's only a few available spots for how many different installations you can do per month on this particular product. Maybe it could be some kind of a limited supply of a particular grade of this product, a particular standard or quality of this product. For this year, we're sourcing them directly from this company in Europe that actually does a very good job of making sure that quality control on these things are amazing. When it comes to 2027, the company has to expand. At that point, it's forced to and do a lot of mass production, and then we have to move manufacturing to China because it's cheaper. So you might want to get your hands on the devices that are coming out right now because they're better later. You see, I'm not saying that necessarily applies to what you're selling, but again, just me thinking on the fly, that might be a way to go about it. Yeah, exactly. I mentioned a few of those. You see if you scroll down in a bit. Oh, okay, cool. I'll see. But yeah, that's kind of how you want to be thinking about it. There's multiple pain points, And there's always a leading pain point, but what I've come to find in my experience is that people don't buy off the leading pain point. They buy off the leading pain point plus some other sub pain point, some other sidekick of a pain point, right? Like people don't buy the interview just because they want a girl, right? They buy the interview because they want a girl and they want to know what it's like to be obsessed over by a beautiful woman. Does that make sense? So it's usually one or two or even three sometimes that really gets people to really buy into your offer. That's the point, especially when it comes to high ticket, right? Let's see. Perhaps you have they sell them for $2K. 2K. What are we talking about? Have you seen the new testosterone rank in countries? No, I have not. I'm very curious to know though. Tell me, Casanova, who's on top right now as far as testosterone goes? Let me guess. It's gonna be some African country or some Eastern European country. Is it Eastern European I'm talking about? Where is Russia and them at? Right? One of them countries. It's one that is gonna be that. Maybe the Pacific Islanders are probably up there. They're always gonna be top 10. All those Pacific Islander countries. But yeah, let me know. I'm very curious. I'm losing my guys. I don't know how to replace them. Are you losing your guys? What guys are you losing? I'm confused. The style of selling is also a lot different in low versus high ticket. In low, you can go more off of impulsive energy. High needs more technique, in my opinion. Oh no, for sure. You can't really impulse. No one impulse buys high ticket, right? No one really past a certain point. No one really, buys impulsively when it comes to high ticket products. So yeah, it makes sense. You know. Not to mention the nurturing that usually has to happen beforehand, even before you get to the point where you have to present your offer one on one. All that good stuff. High ticket is a different ball game, but it's very fun. If they get it now instead of next year, the delivery is way faster. Also, there's a government subsidy now that will run out eventually. Feels like those are decent levers for the urgency. Yeah, those are decent levers. I would say you should punch them up though. I don't think just saying them like that would, be enough or would hit the mark every single time. You really want to sell the government subsidy and the deliverables being way fast. I wouldn't just say delivery. I would say everything involved in the entire delivery process. So it's it getting to your house, the installation. If again, you don't control this, but if there was a way you could promise free installation as opposed to paid installation later in 2027, that would be amazing, right? Because I'm assuming there would have to be some kind of an installation process. Let's say the device is so simple to install that people can do it themselves. Imagine if you could sell listen, you can usually pay us, we usually charge you something to install it for you. Or you get it right now, we'll install it for you for free. You see what I'm saying? Just as a point there, just extra value to give people. Our installation is free generally speaking, but I could say it's only free now. Oh, perfect. If the installation is free, I would say definitely if you got to draft up paperwork to make them feel like, they're getting it for free when they're not supposed to, and then you can really drive up urgency in that way too. Be like, oh no, the installation fee is actually this. It's however many hundreds of euros to actually do it. But I've been given permission by my bosses for the next 30 days to give out free installation. So if you cash in right now, we're coming to your house and installing it for free for you. Boom. Put that in there immediately. You feel me? Let's see. Then went to the club. Unfortunately, no girl I really like, and you have to deal with girls you really like. If you go to the club and you don't find any girls you really like, that's fine. The least you can do, at the very least, is just fucking practice your game, man. Would you prefer the next 30 days or the next 20 people? It depends on what part of the conversation you're saying that in. I say if you leave it to the end, close to the end of your spiel, which is what you should do, by the way, then I would go more with 30 days. 20, the reason 20 people doesn't work as well is because that's usually a low ticket thing. Number of people works better for low ticket. Amount of time works better for high ticket. Right? Because think about the implication behind it. If I'm selling a $10,000 product, it makes more sense to give more time for actual sales to happen. And people unconsciously understand this, as opposed to just 20 people. On a $10,000 high ticket thing, even with amazing marketing, you might be looking at a few months of, you know, of runtime to get those 20 people to buy in, depending on the product and sales, blah blah, marketing behind it, whatever. But the point is, you're punching it up more if you put a time limit on it. 30 days. This is how many days? Because again, and you really want to stress how difficult it would be to get that deliverable going. Because again, you also want to create that winner loser dynamic going on. People want to cash in on something that they feel like they're winning in. What is the best way to get someone to feel like they're winning in a deal? By emphasizing how much you're losing, right? So if you just say, we'll install it for you for free, that's cool. But if you say, it's very difficult for us to install, and we usually charge for it, but for the next 30 days, strict time limit, we can do it for you for free if you cash in right now, then it becomes like something you are reluctantly doing, which makes them go, oh shit, now I really got to cash in on this. And it drives up the urgency, which is why time limit is better. If you say 20 people, you're willing to go through that pain for 20 people, shouldn't the point be to not go through that pain as often as possible? Exactly, 30 days. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah, I got you. Appreciate all the sauce. No problem, man. No problem. Yeah, I expect you to kick me back my little 2%, obviously. we all getting our commissions here. You feel me? I'm just messing with you. Where am I going with YouTube? I gotta go to YouTube now. Let's see. We getting low because my ish almost jamming. Okay. Are you talking about your gun? It's so funny when people talk about firearms on social media and they gotta use these water gun emojis. It's like, come on. No, I can't take that shit seriously. Is there any correlation between good at game and being good in bed? And if no, what are some fundamentals of being great in bed? Thank you. So there is a correlation. The correlation is confidence. The correlation is risk-taking ability. To be good in bed, you have to be willing to do things and lead in such a way that it makes you vulnerable to ridicule, essentially, if you do something wrong or if you go about doing something the wrong way. So the same level of balls it takes to walk up to a girl you don't know and say hi, for instance, is the same level of balls it takes to be able to tell a girl, like, look her in the eyes and tell her to get on her knees for you, right? You're risking rejection regardless of which one you're doing. But that's the point, is that the balls to be able to do that without feeling the sting of rejection or being scared of being told no, that definitely translates. And it'll translate into your body language as well. There's guys that touch girls in sheepish, hesitant ways, and then there's guys that do it like it's second nature to them, like they're supposed to touch her, like they deserve to touch her. You feel me? So yes, it definitely correlates. I have an entire course where I talk about that level of confidence, especially with regards to sex. It's called Hypnotica Erotica. The link is somewhere in my bio if you want to check it out. Girl, why did you just wake up with the energy of 1,000 CEOs? What's going on here? But yeah, if you want to check it out, that's cool too. That is difficult, but fair enough. I appreciate your feedback. No problem, man. Have you seen the new? Just I already read that one on Casanova. Oh wait, I read it on TikTok. Oh, Casanova's out here bouncing. Let me know what the rank is, though. Let me know what the ranking is. Ethiopia is in third place. Ethiopia is in third place. Ethiopia? I don't know, man. That list might be entirely. Ethiopia? Ethiopia, third place. All right. Okay. I don't know if I believe it. But okay. Okay. How are they measuring it though? Are they measuring it by pure amount of testosterone, or is there some kind of like correlation between a previous measurement to a present one? Because I don't see how Ethiopia is even top 10. No offense to y'all. That's the truth. But I'm sure I can see how they become top 10 depending on how it's measured. So I want to know how. If you could let me know. Guys, get your money up. All this game and pick up will not help. Money is all what women want. Hey, man, listen. If that's what you believe, that's what you believe, right? That's the beautiful thing about game. It's all about your expectations. If you believe that you need money to get women, then that's the barrier to entry you put to yourself. Me personally, I've been getting women since I was broke in Nigeria, so that's just how it works. Um, let's see. Powell says, "Bro, what's going on, Powell?" Valentina says, "Hi, what's going on?" Where are you from? I'm Nigerian, born and raised. What if I have ball cancer? Ball cancer, like testicular cancer? Um, Sorry, man. That's unfortunate if that's what you have. What if it for some reason comes from an overly respectful place? That is a fear. That's not respect. Don't ever confuse genuine reverential fear for respect. They're not the same thing. You're scared. You're scared of doing the wrong thing. You're scared of being caught out of place. You're scared of putting yourself in a vulnerable position. So you're not being sheepish and girl. Why are you all of a sudden? You're not being sheepish and hesitant because you have respect. No, you're scared of doing the wrong thing. And the moment you become honest with yourself about that, the moment you start being a little bolder about the way you go about doing things, you know. I genuinely appreciate your time to answer my questions. So, wish you the best, and I have a terribly creepy vibe when I go out. So please make a video about fixing vibe. Sure, man. Why not? I will do that. How to make sure it's a man to woman while testing and building tension. Once you build tension, it's already man to woman. The only ways to build tension with a girl in a conversation is to say something that is man to woman. Is to say something that hints at the possibility of romance and sex, and which is what makes a conversation man to woman. What is the difference between talking to a girl that you intend to sleep with and a girl that you intend to put in the friend zone, right? It's the possibility of sex. That's it. Once you start saying things or hinting at things that indicate that sex might happen, man to woman, automatically. You feel me? No, Ethiopia, no, under Ethiopia, Nigeria is in third place. Oh, Nigeria is in third place. That makes a lot more sense. Okay, all right. Wait, are you saying Nigeria is under Ethiopia? Like Ethiopia is in second place? Why is Ethiopia even coming up in this list at all? What are we talking about? Ethiopia in no way should ever be above Nigeria when it comes to that. Right? There's a lot of things Ethiopia beats Nigeria in. Testosterone is not one of them. That is just an incorrect statement right there. And I will put all kinds of money on it. Again, depending on how it's measured. I want to know how it's measured. Maybe they're doing some kind of experiment where they take a group of men from these different countries and then they measure the testosterone year over time. And then the Ethiopian group somehow has an increase in testosterone over time than the Nigerian group. I can believe that. If that's the case, that's how it's being measured. But like average Ethiopian man, average Nigerian man, testosterone, like come on. Even in sports, you see that that's not how it's represented. So yeah, I'm not inclined to believe that. With that said, though, oh, I gotta take this one up. I swear this thing just slowly goes down over time. It's so interesting. Let me go back to TikTok. I feel like those are decent levers for agency. Oh yeah, we talked about that. Then on the club, you have any ideas? Okay, do you have any ideas on how to incorporate NLP into my scripts? Um, I would say get good at the scripts first. Like make sure you're actually firing on all cylinders with the scripts themselves first. Then you can start approaching it from that point of view where you understand the emotions behind what you're selling, what your customer is like actually doing, and what their actual problem is and how they feel about it. Then you can inject some NLP in there. NLP is only useful when you actually understand the baseline of what you're trying to do. It seems to me like you're still in the experimentation phase. You're still trying to figure out, you know, you're probably still trying to figure out who your ideal customer is. Depending on your own sales style, because they probably just gave you a bunch of numbers to call. Maybe you're cold calling. Maybe you're going door to door. Maybe they have a list of clientele that you can reach out to somehow. Maybe you're going like face to face, walking around. I don't know how you're going about, acquiring your prospects, but you got to figure out how to sell to people and who's easiest to sell to, so you can start figuring out how to get more of those people to go through your sales funnel, right? And that's the stage you're in. You don't even know who's more likely to buy than not. You probably don't. If I were to ask you right now, what's the age range for the person that's more likely to buy what packages? Because I bet you there's also a separation in age and income and stuff like that, depending on what particular package you want to sell to the person. So you gotta figure out all these things first. You gotta do again your market research before you start trying to put some NLP in there. NLP is only like a supplemental boost. You feel me? Been doing it for 1 or 2 months, cold calling, already closed a few deals, but still initial. Yeah, there we go. Well, 1 or 2 months, and honestly, 1 or 2 months, probably not even doing the right things in that 1 or 2 months. Um, the first 3 to 4 months, you shouldn't expect a lot of massive growth in terms of your revenue and sales. That is just the build skills and trust phase. That is the you have to be willing to lose now to win later, especially when it comes to high ticket sales. So you're still in the figuring everything out phase. You're still in the asking questions phase. Like I wouldn't even try to sell right now. I wouldn't try your best to sell. I would literally go up to people and just ask like, what are your basic electrical needs? Like what exactly are you trying to do? And you've heard about the government subsidy and going on. Have you heard about what's going to happen in 2027 and how much it's being enforced? And then ask them questions and see how they respond. Just do that over and over and over and over again, and then things will start opening up to you. You'll start seeing, what's going on and shit. Let's see. I've been reading up on Influence by Robert Cialdini, very good book, and studying Milton Erickson. Person to listen to. Wagwan, how you doing, Larry D? Thoughts on cold approaches? Um, thoughts? Like you want me to give you thoughts on what I literally teach you guys to do on a daily fucking basis? Come on. Of course, the cold approach is the best thing ever. It's amazing. You should definitely do it. That's why I teach it. What's going on, XCX? High ticket sales, if done correctly, is I heard that one. What do you think of Stefan Diggs' game? Uh, Stefan Diggs. Oh, the football player. Isn't he the one that just got Cardi B pregnant? Hey man, it is what it is. His game, it can. People think the game has to be immaculate because it's a celebrity woman. I've already told you guys on multiple occasions. Celebrity women are some of the easiest women to get with. The hard thing about getting with celebrity women is the logistics. That's it. It's being in their actual vicinity, being within close proximity of them. Once you actually get in front of them, it's pretty easy. What are you doing? Relax. It's pretty fucking easy once you get in front of them. So am I surprised that Stephon Diggs was able to take Cardi B from Offset? No, not really. In fact, if anything, I would say Cardi B did most of the work anyway. He's a handsome guy. He's in a very good position, and he has access to women like her. Good for him. I wouldn't say that means much for his actual game though. It's not like we have any major track record of him doing that at that level consistently. He's not no Pete Davidson or whatever. But yeah, I kind of feel sorry for Cardi B, man. She had to learn the hard way a lesson that most women never learn or understand, which is why are you leaving the guy that cheated on you for another guy that's just gonna cheat on you again? Women have to become a little more. I don't want to use the word lenient because some people might not be too accommodating when it comes to that word. So let's just say women have to become more realistic about how they feel about cheating in general. It is what it is. Like again, I said it months ago. What is she gonna do? Leave Offset to go get cheated on by another guy, and then what happened? It's kind of how it works. Oh, here's a reminder for the school calls. Oh yeah, I've already put them up. Go check on there. They should already be done downloading. Actually, it's literally happening right behind me. So, it's definitely done because it's a screensaver mode now. So yeah, it's definitely done. Go on school. It should be there. Oh, I gotta log back in. But yeah, it should be there. Where was I with this? Oh yeah, Stephon Diggs. Shout out to him, but I feel more sorry for Cardi B if anything. Let's see. What's your thoughts on spinning plates? As in having multiple women, as in being normal, which is what it's called, by the way. That's what I call it. It's just being normal. We have all these names for it: spinning plates, having a stable, having a roster, dating multiple people at the same time. In reality, that's what's supposed to happen. That's biology at its finest. Most women are gunning for the same 20% of guys. That's biology. That's not me. That's not you. That's not a failing society. That is biology. That is her reptilian brain working hard to increase her chances of survival by aligning herself, right, or consolidating on the top 20% of men. And that means men that are capable, are strong, are competent, and have the highest chance of increasing her chances of survival. Right? So that's supposed to happen. That's supposed to happen. Um, yeah, exactly. You mentioned a few of those. Uh, Niche works if you're selling to high income customers. Niche works if you're selling to anybody. I mean, some niches are broader than others, but ultimately, a niche is what is the major selling point of any major high ticket product. You know, all my openers are the first thing I notice about her, and I just wing it. Situational openers, not bad, not bad. Would you prefer the next? I already read that one. I'm gonna send you some shares type shit. Yeah, hell yeah. You seem to be aware of what has happened. Can you tell us now? I'm talking about what you said was going to happen today. Uh, you're missing the forest for the trees again, KD. Stay focused. Yo, Fish Army, what's up, my boy? Yeah, right. Fish Army, look who's here. Um, let's see. Have you seen Ethiopian men? Oh yeah, I have. I'm friends with them, in fact. How would you go about not being annoyed when your girl is clingy, when you have to go somewhere? Understand that it's coming from a place of love. You know what I mean? It's all love. It's not. She's not doing it to piss you off. She's doing it because, if anything, she has almost. Baby girl, she's doing it because she has almost zero, discipline or self control around how she feels about you. And guess who has to do the work to teach her how to have a little more self control? You do. So it's not something to get annoyed over, even though you feel like you have to be annoyed about it. It's not something to get annoyed over. It's just something to understand and you know, move through. Jace, where's Ryu? Haven't seen him in lives a long time. That's literally him right there. That's Ryu. That's Karim is Ryu. You don't remember him as Karen, but that's him. Let's see. I still friend zone. I still feel friend zoned, even while teasing. I mean, you might have just you might have a problem with your teasing. You might not know how to tease then, if that's the case. Um, how long does it take to finish those dreadlocks? Finish? What do you mean by finish dreadlocks? I don't know what that means. Are you talking about have dreadlocks? Are you talking about grow dreadlocks? What does that mean to finish dreadlocks? How does one find purpose when unemployed? Your employment is not your purpose. In fact, usually it's the opposite, you know? If anything, now that you're unemployed, you have all the time in the world to go and seek out your purpose. Because right now, if anything, your purpose is to find your purpose, right? I always say if you don't know what your purpose is, then that means your purpose is to find one, right? So make that you make your entire life an experimentation, and put yourself in many different types of positions to be able to figure out what you should be doing with your life. Does that make sense? Let's see. Just look it up, man. What are we talking about? Oh, the testosterone thing. You don't want to help me out? Just type a list, bro. You can help me real quick. I'd appreciate it. I think for friend zone guys, he needs to. For friend zone guy, the other guy, he needs to hold back, reduce attention. He give her space and see if she's really into you, or is it just, or is it, or it is just you trying so bad to force her into liking you. Hold back, work on you. Okay? No, that's terrible advice. If the problem is you still feel friend zone, it doesn't necessarily mean you are friend zone. That's one. That's why I said it's an internal thing. So it's either your teasing technique is off, right? Or you're misreading the situation. So regardless of how you see it, it's your actual skill. You got to work on the actual skill. Got to work on your teasing, or work to understand what you're interpreting with your eyes. Because just because you feel friend zone doesn't mean that she's actually friend zoning you. Does that make sense? And then if you are feeling friend zoned, then what are you seeing to make you say that? So it's all technique, baby. It's all fucking technique. Brazil. Shout out to Brazil. I've been working on my Portuguese accent. It's pretty fun. Good evening. Are you already in the kitchen and making the snacks? If you're asking if I'm cooking, yes, I am. I'll be cooking and shit. Uh, mic on, por favor. My mic isn't on. It should be. I hope it is. What should my response be to what, Errand? How you doing, by the way? Tough grit. What's going on, man? You're so fat. You have your own postal code. That's a funny one. I prefer the what's the one about the satellite one? You're so fat. Your baby pictures have to be taken via satellite. That one's pretty funny. I don't drink, so I'm very nervous when I approach, and women see me lurking and mustering the courage up to talk to them. Does that creep them out and hurt my chances? In your experience, is hesitation bad? Hesitation is one of the worst things you can do. It's better you have unbridled confidence doing the wrong thing than hesitate doing the right thing. Right? Hesitation will always make you look weak. It's better you fail woefully and brush it off afterwards, like it didn't even happen, than be so scared to even try to begin with. Right? So all that lurking around, all that beating around the bush, all that stuff you're doing, it's definitely hurting your chances for sure. It's better you just walk up to her and bomb. It's way better. At least you walk away with respect in that situation than look like a little floundering bitch. You feel me? So yes. Let's see. Nigeria is one of the two, 10 or 15. What are we talking about Nigeria? Wow, mind blown. I might be reminded blown. Do you think the concept of warming up, getting in state is weak? Honestly, I feel like it is, but if you're starting out, then what choice do you have? You know what I mean? I can brag and be like, yeah, it's weak. For where I am now, I've been in this shit damn near a decade and a half. But for someone starting out, especially when I was starting out, absolutely, I could definitely use a concept like warming up, for sure. So if you're starting out, please, for the love of God, if it makes it easier for you, warm up. I'd rather you warm up and get in state than rely on something like alcohol, for instance, right? That'll destroy you, mind, spirit, soul, and body. So yeah, warm up if you have to. Get into state. You'll feel weaker. You'll feel like you have to rely on these fragile pillars to feel good about yourself, and it's also very easy for people to get you out of state. I've seen guys do that whole warming up, getting into state thing, and then they meet one AMOG. That's what we used to call them back in the day, AMOG, Alpha Mog, right? Essentially a male obstacle on the set, which I've already told you how to deal with those guys. Don't see them as an obstacle, befriend them. But one AMOG says one random wrong thing, and it destroys your confidence completely, right? And yeah, it kind of takes them out of state at that point, which is the problem with trying to get into state, is that it makes you fragile. You know, it's like Inception. One kick and you're awake. You know what I mean? So you have to graduate past that point. But if you're starting out, please get into state. If that's what you got, if that's what you got to do, ride that bike with training wheels. I don't mind. Okay. We gotta celebrate Kareem welcome back party type shit. I thought he'd be on the. Now that I'm thinking about it, he wasn't in the group call yesterday on school. He told me he had issues with getting in there. That's unfortunate. But yeah, that'll be where we really go crazy. We can't do that on TikTok. We can't do that on YouTube. You know. I'm gonna take a big risk and get and try out goatee. A goatee, wait, goatee, just a goatee or a goatee with a mustache combo? Because it has to be a goatee with a mustache combo. You have the jawline for that, K. You do. Right? It can't just be a goatee, no mustache. That now you look like a fucking serial killer. You feel me? So yeah, goatee mustache combo is goated. You know, mustache goatee type shit is exactly what it needs to be. It's exactly what it needs to be. The universe called me back over here. Type shit. The newbies here don't realize what's happening right now. Yeah, they don't. Only thing is that school didn't let me in. Yeah, I know, man. Jace, love your answer on correlation between being good at cardio and game. It's very important, man. They are connected. I mean, think about it like this. Everything you do in person while your clothes are still on are an indication of how you're going to be when your clothes are off. To her. They're all interpreting it like that, unconsciously and consciously. So yes, yes, it's very important. Those two things are definitely connected. Jace, what a guy. I try to be, man. I try to be. How you doing? Um, just get a deep knowledge. Just got a deep knowledge of my customer avatar. Got you. Get. I thought you meant got. That's my bad. You said it correctly the first time. Yes. Do your own customer research. It's very important. Do your customer research. Thoughts on acting like you're a celebrity as a form of game? Isn't that what game is, if, in a way? Is to be a micro niche celebrity in her eyes, right? So you are a celebrity. You are a celebrity. That's why social proof comes in. That's where pre-selection comes in. Yeah, you're essentially a celebrity. Now, should you be such a celebrity that you begin to fake a lifestyle that you don't have? No, don't do that. Like, don't tell her you have access to things you don't have. But if you are a cool guy, you do have some social clout about you. If you, like, not even social clout, just a good enough reputation, you'll appear to be a celebrity. Like, for instance, for me, where I live, I'm pretty much friends on a first name basis with every either shop owner or worker within like a mile radius of me. I walk all these places. I'm always with my dogs and stuff usually. Every single person, every single place I walk by, I'm waving, I'm saying hi, what's up, how you doing, how's the kid, congratulations, your wife just had a baby, you know, because I'm a part of my community. So any girl that sees me operate in my community, instantly they believe, oh, this guy, you know, he has some clout about him. Now, am I necessarily like famous? No, right? Forget the TikTok, you know, account and whatever. But I'm not fucking Chris Brown or nothing. But I have enough respect from a lot of other people that can co-sign me in her eyes to make her realize, okay, this guy's fucking cool, and that's what it's all about. It's something I did years ago before I knew game, kind of as a playful gig. Worked pretty well, to be honest. Like pretending to be a celebrity. Oh, for sure. There's a social experiment you can do where, and I really want you to test this out. If you have friends that'll agree to do this with you, get them to dress up in black suits and then walk around into clubs like you're a celebrity and they're bodyguards. Instant clout. Instant clout. Instant. It's kind of a weird cheat code, but it does work. And then you can rotate who gets to be the celebrity, you and your friends. So let's say it's you and your four friends, so it's five people. You go to the club, um, you know, once every week, twice every week, whatever, and then you just rotate who has the celebrity get up on and who has to have the black suit on. And then just do that. That works. It does work. Now, it also requires you to have all these things set up in the back end to keep the illusion going, but yeah, that's why you shouldn't do it. It betrays your soul, and it's a lot of unnecessary work in the back end. You feel me? Oh wait, actually, let me go back to YouTube. YouTube. Let's see. I never hear from a girl. Am I wrong to assume she's not interested? No, 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 not even a little bit. If she's not hearing from you, or my bad, if you're not hearing from her, that means she has no sense of urgency to speak to you, to talk to you, to want to get to know you, to be in your presence, blah blah. So yeah, you could assume the attraction isn't there. You could. That's not the important piece of information to focus on though. The real question should be why. Why isn't she trying to reach out to you? What's going on there? What happened? Let's see. What's warm up and especially versus drinking? Picked drinking back up to go out and help with girls after a breakup. Yeah, okay. So warming up is all about the idea of getting into a talkative state before you start talking to girls. Because if you try to talk to girls cold, as in you haven't warmed up yet, and you try to talk to girls cold, you're gonna have to be, you know, or at least this is how most men interpret it, which is why warming up as a concept even exists. You're not gonna be as loose yet. You're not gonna be as perfect as you can be talking to the girl, because you're not in the mood to talk yet. So you're gonna be a little more nervous, a little more stumbly. You're gonna take rejection a lot more harshly, and it's probably gonna affect your performance going the rest of the night. As opposed to if before you got to the club, you talk to this person, you talk to that person, you got yourself into a chatty mood before you got to the club, you have a better chance of just continuing being a chatty person throughout the rest of the night, right? That's as far as warm up goes. Um, as for drinking, the reason people drink when talking to girls in general is to calm their nerves, which in my opinion destroys the whole point of game, like why game exists. Game exists as an exercise to destroy your fucked up relationship you have with your own anxiety, right? If you go to the gym, why? Why do you hit the gym and build muscle? What do you do that for? Not just to build muscle, obviously, but to also build discipline, to build self control, to you know reconstruct your relationship with pain, physical pain and discomfort. Those are the intangibles you learn going to the gym. Not just the physical muscles, but all the other intangibles that you get with it. If you find a way to build muscle without actually building the mental, physical, spiritual fortitude to build that muscle, you have robbed yourself of about 70% of the actual gains you're getting in the gym. Right? Same thing with game. If you go and try to get game or try to develop your game or just not even worried about developing your game, you just want to get pussy, then it'll make sense for you to go drink alcohol, because when you're in an alcoholic state, when you're tipsy or drunk or whatever, then you're not going to feel your nerves as much, right? You're going to be a lot more in your body than your head. You're going to be a lot looser, blah, blah, all that good stuff. And it'll help you appear more confident in front of women, especially women that don't understand, why it's not a good idea to judge a guy off his drunken state, or in general, why it's not even a good idea to take a guy seriously that can only talk to her when he's drunk. Right? We can talk about that for a different day, but you rob yourself of the ability to actually learn the intangibles of game when you do it like that. When you do nothing but rely on alcohol, because you're robbing yourself of the core lesson you can learn in talking to women, which is learning how to talk to women without falling apart, learning how to keep your wits about you, to be calm, confident, socially calibrated, and mentally strong while talking to a woman that on an evolutionary level represents some kind of major negative biological consequence. Why is it hard to talk? Ew, is that saliva? Gross. Why is it hard to talk to? By the way, Willow, come here. This is Willow. Everybody say hi. She's self-grooming right now. Go away. Why is it hard for men to talk to beautiful women? Rejection. But why is the rejection harsh? What makes the rejection sting? Why is it so painful? Because of the biological and evolutionary implication behind it. If you can't get women, you can't reproduce. You can't get the opposite sex or members of the opposite sex to help you keep your genes alive in the gene pool. And that bodes bad for your actual genetic information. That's why it feels terrible when you get any kind of rejection from the opposite sex, man or woman, right? So dealing with that fear and learning how to operate at a high level regardless of having that anxiety flowing through your body, that's the point of game. That's the point of learning game. If you drink alcohol, you rob yourself of that ability to learn those lessons. And even worse, you make yourself dependent on something that is outside of yourself, which ultimately means you don't have real concrete grounded confidence. So please, for the sake of you, not even for the love of God, just for the sake of you, don't respond, don't rely, sorry, not respond. Don't rely on anything outside of yourself to get the results you want. Okay? Why is it easier to run game when you're in another country than in your own country? Again, lack of anxiety. Your running game in your home or around where you live carries a lot more negative consequence than running game outside of where you are. Right? So it feels like a get out of jail free card to be in a different place where the consequences don't follow you back at home. That's why it feels easier. That's really it. Let's see. Isn't the whole pickup artist thing a bunch of old dudes hanging around the young crowd? Unfortunately, some people use pickup like that. Pickup is a tool. Pickup is a tool. It's the thing about how people operate in the world, and it's not people's fault. This is the general rules of thumb we use to interact with our world and understand things quickly. But the thing about how we usually interpret the world is that we use labels and we create personas behind each label. So when you say, isn't the pickup thing just this particular thing? I don't blame you for saying that, but you're not seeing pickup for what it is. It's a tool. It's a system that you can use for attracting women into your life consistently. Some old dudes use it to do things they shouldn't do. Sure, but it's just a tool. Some tools are used for evil or good. Would you put martial arts on the same level as game in terms of how valuable it is as a skill? Absolutely. Absolutely. I think honestly though, I would put game slightly higher just because if you have game, then you probably don't even need to use your martial arts, which is a better outcome for you in general in life. Um, Ironically, martial arts or being a good martial artist requires you to have game. When you talk about, if you go to self defense classes and stuff like that, ooh, that looks pretty. Thank you. If you go to self defense classes and stuff like that, what is the one thing they teach you about how self defense works? Is gauging people. Is being able to read correctly other people's emotional states and being able to act accordingly. That's game. Martial arts, if taught to you correctly, forces you to become socially calibrated yourself. You see, so in a way, you can't really have martial arts without having game. You feel me? I've always said a fight is really an emotional dance between two people. It's two people trying to manage their emotions and the emotions of the other person. You really start winning a fight when you can get the other person to feel what you want them to feel, and to the degree you want them to feel it. I knew Canelo was losing against Crawford, not even because of the punches that were landing, but because of the frustration on his face building throughout the rounds. See, he was losing his emotional center. He was looking away. He was, frowning his face. His brows were touching up here. He was getting frustrated. Crawford, on the other hand, was smiling, sticking his tongue out. You see, that's how it works. It's all about game. It all comes down to how well you perform in your interactions with other people. Where does money, sales, and entrepreneurship rank in those three? Um, Money is just another aspect of it. I think of money as game light because it's game, but it's game for a very niche specific aspect, which is exchanging monetary value. You know, exchanging monetary value for use value, but monetary value nonetheless. If you think about it, sales is just game. It's the same principles that run it, right? What do you got to do when you meet a girl? Higher psychological position, as in you have to make sure she thinks that you're better than her. Why? Because you have to represent value to her. Why do you need to represent value to her? Because if you don't have value, you don't have the license to build comfort. And if you can't create comfort, then you don't have the license to seduce. Same thing with sales. Why do you have to create a good offer that's mouth-watering to people? Because value. The value has to be high for them to want to cash in on the value, right? So value has to be high, and then if the value is high and there's no risk involved, what does it mean to remove risk or to reduce effort for your customer, your prospects, your clients? It's comfort. It's comfort building. That's what it looks like in sales. And then you cash in. That's what you tell them the price. You see what I'm saying? So it's literally the same process. It's the same thing. It's just done in slightly different ways because of the circumstances involved. You're not trying to fuck your customer, so the objections they have are going to be different than a girl that you meet that you find attractive. You feel me? Yeah, but it's the same thing. It's all game, baby. It all comes back to game. It's something I did years ago. Already read that one. Separate question. Are there any health benefits to swimming regularly? I've heard. I'm the last person to ask. I genuinely... Should I be embarrassed to say this? I'm not, but I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't know how to swim. I guess I do a little bit, but yeah, I'm not the best swimmer out there. I'm really not. But I'll put it like this. Every single person I know that does know how to swim looks amazing. And especially those that do it at a high level. I feel like of all the sports, the swimmer body build might be the most aesthetically pleasing. You've never met a swimmer you don't want to look like. Real talk. There's some track and field athletes you could do without in terms of looking like if you're damn W black stereotype. Indeed. I'm such a nigga for that. In my defense though, I don't like watermelons. Love fried chicken though. But yeah, swimmers have the most aesthetic build. Actually, it's a toss up between swimmers and gymnasts, right? Specifically male gymnasts. But yeah, I think swimmers definitely are healthy as fuck. If you want to put it that way, you feel me? Let's see. Something like that years ago. Stefan is going to have even more options now. His pre-selection is going to be off through the roof. Is that what you mean? Yes. Like recreational pool facility once a week or whatever. thought of doing it post workout. Oh, for sure, man. It's also a good way to cool down. It's like an ice bath, but dynamic, for sure. Gymnast build is better. You think? That's cool. I tend to agree depending on who we're talking about. But yeah, gymnasts have crazy bodies, man. Crazy and crazy strength as well. You know. Let's see. If multiple women is normal, how do I stop being so weird? What are you being weird about? I'm confused. I'm doing well. How's it going, princess? Oh, call me a princess. I feel so pretty. If you're a habitual swimmer, your build is insane. Yes, their shoulders are crazy. Their lats are out of this world. They have the best V tapers swimmers, the best V tapers. I know motherfuckers that are like, I can't get rid of my love handles. My love handles have so much. Dude, get the swimming. Get the fucking swimming. Who's calling me? Get the swimming. Just swim. I'm telling you, swimming will literally change your life. Could even be a decent date idea once I already know a girl like gym plus pool. That's actually a great date idea. You know, one of the best date ideas you can have for a girl is the gym. Because you want to see what she's like in, uncomfortable circumstances. You definitely want to see how she responds to high levels of stress. You feel me? What's going on, Billy? How you doing, man? Confirm mutual attraction without it looking like asking for permission. What are we talking about? Do you think the concept of warming up or getting... I already read that one. Why do moms place more importance on one kid than the other? My mom has a lot higher expectations on me than she does on my sister. That's because you're your mom's son. Mothers in general... Okay, so there's an evolutionary reason behind this, by the way. Friedrich Nietzsche, I believe, was the one that talked about the relationship between the father and the daughter, and the relationship between the mother and his son, and her son. Apologies. And basically, mothers favorite their son, fathers favorite their daughters, blah, blah. There's an actual evolutionary reason behind it. And it turns out the reason behind it is because on a genetic level, the father leaves the majority of his genetics, or a better way to put it is, his genetics are better expressed through his daughter than his sons. So this patriarchal belief we have of father to son is actually not correct. On a biological level, your genetics as a man will be expressed more and better through your daughter than your son. And the same thing for the mothers, vice versa for them. The mother's genetics will be expressed better through her sons. I think you mean Freud. I said Friedrich Nietzsche, my bad. Sigmund Freud, not Friedrich Nietzsche. Thank you for correcting me there. Sigmund Freud, not Friedrich Nietzsche. I swear these names I keep juggling these names in my mind all the time. Friedrich Nietzsche, Sigmund Freud, Carl Jung. You know how it is. Anyway, where was I going with this? Yes. So on a genetic level, you are more inclined to protect your genetic investment in your daughter as a man than you are with your son. Which is why men are more prone to let their sons suffer than their daughters. You're more prone to spoil your daughter than your son. And the same thing for women. Women are even worse, honestly. Not only do they massively favorite their sons, they damn near detest their daughters. They're in direct competition with their daughters most times. So yeah, that's the reason behind it. Yeah, they're all Germans. Yeah, they are all Germans. That's true. That's why it's easy to fucking... Germany cooked, though. Shout out to Germany. Germany cooked when it came to, like, psychiatric studies and psychology. They fucking cooked. Them world wars did a wonder on them. Actually, aren't you fucking German, Ryu? You in Fish Army, right? You both live in Germany? Let's see. Mustache Goatee, yeah, I remember that one. Oh, I gotta go back to YouTube, actually. Warm-ups versus drinks and pick-up artists. Okay. Cardio and game, I must have came too late. Yes, you did. Pause, by the way. How can I get a girl for my job? You have to build a solid reputation at your job first. You know, that's the most important part. You actually have to be... What was that, girl? Did you hear something? Her ears just perked up. You know, she's like a fox, so when her ears perk up, you notice. Actually, come here before people think I'm being crazy talking to nobody. I'm just talking to Willow. Willow Bobillo Bean. That's what we call her. And Zoro isn't far off. He's right here too. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, build a reputation at your job first. Actually, be a man of character, competence, and leadership there. Then everything will just kind of fall into place. There's a reason, the boss always smashes one of his employees at your workplace because he's the boss. He has power. He has influence. So the idea is to either be the boss or be a boss-like figure at the workplace. Everything else will be easy for you from there. I notice the drinking helps my constant overthinking, but it's isolated for the night and doesn't help for the ongoing communication and choices it requires after the initial connection. Yeah, that's kind of the price you pay when you make a deal with the devil, my guy. That's why I say stay away from the alcohol. You want to go through the process of learning the hard skill of communicating and interacting with women in person, one on one, so that you can have that skill all the way up from the front end to the back end, and you're not left, just clueless once the alcohol wears off. Why do women judge men who like going out solo and don't drink? Those are only ugly women. Don't worry about what they have to say. I always tell you guys, whenever you hear women speak, you always want to know what kind of women are saying what they're saying. Is it attractive women or is it unattractive women? The worst thing you can do as a man is sit up there worrying about what unattractive women have to say. Their opinions don't matter. The only woman that would have the time of day to try to shame men's behavior in general, to be honest, is unattractive women. But especially women that shame behavior that seems inconspicuous, just like regular shit, like, oh, he's going out, let's shame him for that. That's ugly woman shit. And the reason they're shaming you, by the way, for that is because they're worried and concerned that you're not taking them out, that you're not being useful to them somehow. So they're shaming that behavior. You gotta understand, unattractive women are very jealous of, especially attractive men's freedom, especially the freedom to choose, freedom of options, freedom to do whatever the fuck we want. So, yeah, don't worry about what they gotta say. And I keep telling you guys, attractiveness as a man is not about just the way you look. It's fucking your confidence levels. It's the way you carry yourself. It's the level of belief you have in yourself. And get this, your selectiveness, where you choose for your time and your attention to go. If you're out here worrying about what ugly women have to say, by definition, you're not attractive. I'm sorry, you're not. So yeah, get that out of your mind. This girl wanted to lock me down, but I was like, let's take things slow. Is that what you mean? Then she moved on. My friend and moved on to your friend, and my friend, huh? Acted like I didn't really mind, but she kind of always hits me up. So you did a terrible job writing that, but I'll try to understand you. You wanted this girl, or this girl wanted you. You didn't want her apparently. Now she's with your friend, and you didn't care, but now she's always hitting you up. It sounds to me like you care, because even if she was hitting you up after all this time, why would you still care? Sounds to me like you want her, and you have to be honest with yourself first before you start, knowing what to do. Does that make sense? Um, uh, how about you pick up some of these nuts? That's funny. Why do you think Ethiopians have that build and how to get out of it, or how to make the build better? It's just slow twitch muscle. They don't have the West African fast twitch muscle abundance that we have, which by the way is not always a good thing. We can talk about the downfalls of that too, but yeah, Ethiopians, yeah, they don't have as much fast twitch muscle as we do, so they don't have the ability to build muscle as quickly or as big or anything like that. They have to work a lot harder to build the same kind of muscle that we have, but it is possible for them if they really work hard at it, for sure. Since I'm stuck at home, I started training in boxing at home. Should I integrate some weight training also, since I'm a beginner? If so, what should I focus on? No, you're too early in the game to be like trying to do too many things at the same time. Stick to your boxing training. That will be more than enough discomfort for your body to go through, for you to start adding other things on top. You're not at the point yet where you can start like mixing and matching. Don't do that to yourself, okay? Let's see. I'm gonna cry when my beard goes for real. You'll be fine. Like, you can grow one back. You're Ghanaian. You'll be fine. How do you graduate past having to get into state or warming up? Honestly, just practice. practice over and over and over, just get in front of girls. And at some point, here's how I think this is how it actually happened for me in particular. Because there was a time where I genuinely like I subscribed to the idea of getting into state. And then one day, one random day, I saw a girl that I wanted to talk to. I think she was walking across the street, and I had to run. I had to cross the street, like then to get hit by a car. Actually, no, I wasn't that dramatic, but I had to run past the fucking street to go talk to her. And upon getting there and just opening the conversation and just having a blast talking to this girl, getting her number, I realized, no, I didn't get into state. Because that's how it works sometimes. You're not going to have time to get into state every single time. That is the ultimate motivation to abandon that whole state theory. You know, because then you realize, oh, I don't actually have to get into state. I just have to get excited enough to want to do it. You see what I'm saying? And that's the point. So you don't have to get into state. You just have to get excited enough to want to do it, and you'll do it. Thoughts on creating generational wealth? Ugh. Oh my God, I roll my eyes when I hear that word. The only people that say the word generational wealth are broke people. They don't understand how money works. Let's talk about it for a second though. All right. I hope I didn't come off harsh. It's not you I'm shitting on. I'm shitting on whoever decided to try to make generational wealth the new buzzword. Here's how money actually works. Here's how it works, especially when passed down through generations. There is no such thing as generational wealth. There's only wealth. And it's either maintained properly through generations or not. There's a lot of people that have made life-changing money. Hell, generationally changing money that still ended up losing it all. Either with them or their children or their grandchildren. Right? And that's the general consensus, by the way. I think I talked about this yesterday. The first generation of money makes the money. The second generation of money preserves the money. Because they saw the first generation and how hard they grinded for it, so they have an appreciation for that and do their best to keep the money and multiply it. The third generation is the squander generation. They're the ones that lose all the money. Usually. Doesn't always happen like that, but usually that's how it works. Why? Because the third generation is too far removed from the first generation, so they don't have the same discipline or habits around money, and they don't appreciate the grind that goes into creating that initial burst of wealth. Because again, it's money, it's numbers. It all starts from zero, and then goes into one. And if you do the correct things to get money, if you know how to chase high leverage opportunities, then you will exponentially increase your money. And that's how it should be. It shouldn't be 1, then 2, then 3. No, it should be 1. And then if you use that 1 correctly, then it turns into 10. If you use that 10 correctly, then it turns into 100. If you use that 100 correctly, then it turns into 1,000. If you use that 1,000 correctly, then it turns into 10,000. If you use that 10,000 correctly, then that turns into 100,000, and so on and so forth. Maybe not that linearly, but you know, the idea of money is that it should explode. It should be exponentially growing, right? How do you make money exponentially grow? Skill. That's the real generational wealth, by the way, in case you're not aware. That's why the third generation squanders it, and the first generation makes it, and the second generation preserves it. Because there's a miscommunication of skills going down the generations. It's the skills that pay the bills. It's the skills that actually make the money and learn how to use it correctly and know how to spend it and invest it and know how to explode it and know how to transfer it and know how to move it and all those things. It's the skill. The real generational wealth is skill. Skills, if you want to call them that, right? So, yeah, that's my qualms with the idea of generational wealth. There's no amount of money you can give your children that'll guarantee their wealth all the way into the next generation after them. But there is an amount of skills you can give them that will guarantee that. Because I'm not going to say I'm not going to give my children money, but I will do such a good job teaching them the skills that, by the way, I'm still learning myself. I'm not even perfect then, right, when it comes to money. But I will do such a good fucking job teaching them those skills that it wouldn't matter if I give them money or not. They're going to be rich anyway. They're going to be fucking rich. And that's the point, right? Daddy's putting in all this work now to make sure that I'm in the position to teach them everything they need to know so that they can teach their children everything they need to know. Does that make sense? That's how it should work. That's what it's all about. It's the skills. It's the fucking skills. It's the fucking knowledge. It's not the connections. It's not the networks. It's not who you know. It's skills. It's skills. If you have the right skills, you'll know anybody. You'll find one way or the other. You will know how to gather people around you, attract people to you, lead people. It's skills. It's fucking skills. So work on the skills, guys. Okay. Teach a man how to fish type shit. Exactly. Alex Hormozy has a way he says it. I forget how he says it. He said it so brilliantly, and I was like, God damn, that's a bar, and he put it in such a good way. Like he verbalized what I've been trying to say for years. How do you say it? Something about if you have a son that knows, how do you say it? Fuck. But it came down to like that generational thing, transferring skills. If your son knows how to, fuck, I forget how you put it. God damn it. But it was so brilliant how he put it. He said something like, they can't take skills from you. No, that's not even that. He said it in a recent interview. It was something to the effect of, if you have a son that knows how to use money, then there's no use giving him any. Like, teach your sons how to use money so that, teach your sons how to, give your sons the skill for money so giving them money is pointless. And then fuck, I forget how you, I'm so mad at myself for not knowing right now. But yes, he has a quote. Maybe someone can find it or something. I'd really appreciate that. Anyway, but yeah, that's the spiel on generational wealth, if you must know how it works. Can you give a brief summary of what you were saying about cardio and game? Just got here, but I think I can put the pieces together. Summary is the way you interact with her outside of the bedroom is the way you'll do it inside of the bedroom. The level of confidence you demonstrate when you're interacting with a woman when your clothes are still on is the level of confidence you'll have with her when your clothes are off, right? So the same levels of hesitation and self-doubt that you have when you're talking to a girl is what you'll assume you'll have in bed, and it's true. Those skills are definitely transferable, right? So keep that in mind. They're correlated in that way. Would you put martial art? I already read that one. Why is it easier? I already read that one too. Do you have a planner, or what type of systems do you use for structure? I use a time boxer and a to-do list for my planning and structure, essentially. Because you can't manage time. You can only manage the activities you do within the time, right? So if you think about it like that, it makes more sense to watch out more for activities and how quickly you can get them done, or how much you can get done in a certain amount of time, than to actually worry about the time itself. You know what I mean? Let's see. Go back to YouTube. Since I'm stuck at home, I started training in boxing at home. I already read that one. Any supplements, focus, or anything else Ethiopians should do? Protein is your friend, right? Protein is your fucking best friend, obviously. I would say do a lot of high weight, low rep stuff that really tears the muscles very, very harshly. Right? If you're Ethiopian, I don't think the idea is to become a fucking bodybuilder. Is there even Ethiopian bodybuilders? Is that even a thing that exists? Regardless, the idea isn't to become a bodybuilder. The idea is to build a body that functions well for you, that does exactly what you need it to, at high speed and velocity. So you want to build muscles that are hard-earned, right? Obviously, but also are lean. Make sure you keep as much fat off you as possible. Okay? You missed my message, the penultimate one. Can you type it again? I'll be right back. I'm going on TikTok for a second. Let's see. Have you slept with a Kardashian? No, but I've slept with a few girls that look like them, if that counts. How do you feel when you see a barren woman, but the man decides to be barren with her? That's so funny. Get yourself an extra babe and have kids. You gain nothing from this. That's how I feel about it too. Like, literally. Honestly, if the woman herself loves you, that's the solution she's gonna bring to you as well. A woman that loves you isn't gonna limit your own options. She's not gonna make you suffer and destroy your opportunity for genetic propagation. Look at the Bible, right? In the Bible, Abraham was told by God he was going to have a son. Sarah looked at herself and said, I am way too old to have children right now. I don't know how God plans to do this, but it's definitely not going to be through me. Oh, I have an idea. Let me get the little slave girl to sleep with him so that he can have a son that way. And so Ishmael was born, and as a result, the Arabic world. Right? We can get into the history of that another time. But the point is, when a woman loves you, she's supposed to be like helping you, not trapping you. When a woman loves you, it should be that of, fucking excess and abundance for you. So when you see a woman that's like super selfish in that way, she doesn't love you. She just sees you as an accessory to keep making her feel special. Because that's what's going on there, right? You got a woman that's like, oh, I can't have kids, but my husband also is so noble. He doesn't want to have kids too. It's like you're just getting drunk off the validation of having a man give up his genetic potential for you, and that's fucked up. By the way, I would say that vice versa the same way if it was the man or the woman. Like if the roles were reversed, I would say the exact same thing. So don't make this a gender thing. All right. How do you wear Crocs and create how do you wear a cross? My bad, I read that incorrect. How do you wear a cross and create a channel to manipulate women to sleep with you? That's an interesting take because I'm not creating a channel to get women or to manipulate women to sleeping with me. I've always said, you're new here clearly, but I've always said that the whole point of game is it's the ultimate form of self-improvement. There is nothing that improves you greater and better than learning how to deal with all the nerves and anxiety associated with dealing with beautiful women. That's one. Two, it's unfortunate we live in a world where people have a very wrong misconception of how Christianity works and what it's all about. No one talked to hoes more than Jesus Christ. I was just saying this the other day. Jesus Christ was for the hoes. All he did was save hoes. Read your Bible. It's not even blasphemous to say. And if you're a Christian, you're going, what the fuck, blasphemy? You've never read your Bible. Read it. It's in there. Jesus was like the ultimate Captain Save a Hoe. And I'm not saying that lightly. I'm not saying that to be funny. I mean that, like literally. He saved more whores' lives than just about anyone in history. And he did it so skillfully, so amazingly well, right? I'm saying that to say this. We have this very strict box-like idea of what Christianity is and all about. And because of that idea that we've been taught by society, by churches that have indoctrinated us into thinking about things in a very weird way, we assume the world to be a certain way. But it's not. Right? Jesus would want you to be the strongest, best, most competent man you can be so that you can protect as many women as possible. He would want that because that's what he did. Do with that information what you must. Let your spirit struggle with that one. And that's a good thing if it does. You got to start thinking for yourself. You got to start looking into the book you're reading and understanding what it's all about. Right? The Bible, It's a very important book. It's the most special book ever written. Very special book. It wasn't written in English. Keep that in mind. It was written in ancient Hebrew and Aramaic. You probably want to do some research on each scripture you read so you can get the proper historical context, right? You read it and understand it, right? But all that aside, it's like just understand what's going on. I know you've seen people wear this cross and assume a lot of things about them that are the exact opposite of what you believe me to be. But I promise you, that's not how this works. You can stick around, I'll show you. It gets really interesting around here, but very practical. That's the best part about it, though. The Venusian arts, indeed. Let's see. Where does making money sales? I already read that one, didn't I? Yes, I did. Where did that question come from? Curiosity. Todd is allowed to ask that question because he's curious. It's not a bad thing. Let's see. Yesterday at a dance, I was talking to two girls, and I asked the guy next to us to rate the girls' outfits and what they had on. I pointed out different things about their outfits and told them there was a clear winner. They started asking who I didn't answer. What are we talking about? They ended up saying that it was a tie and hugged each other. Huh? What? What are we talking about? I have no idea what that. Billy, I'm missing context there. Obviously, rewrite that for me. Let's see. How dare you insult watermelon? Hey, listen, man. I don't get watermelon. It doesn't taste as good as people try to claim it does. Motherfuckers act like watermelon is the greatest thing ever. You can't, bruh. You can't put watermelon on the same level as pineapple. Pineapple is just a more flavorful fruit. Is that wrong to say? Is that crazy to say? Blueberries are 10 out of 10. Grapes are wonderful. Watermelon, they damn near taste tasteless compared to these masters of fruits. You feel me? What matters more, your looks or genetics, your money, resources, or game and personality? Your game, by far. So, I hate when people say game or personality because personality and game are not the same thing. Although you can like personality is a subgenre of game if you want to think about it like that. All your personality is a list of habits and behaviors. That's it. Game is behavioral cue based. So you can definitely see a change or an adjustment in your personality the better your game is. But it does start with the way you interpret social cues, right? And as a result, the way you respond to them. So it all starts with game. But yeah, game is by far the most important. Without game, all the other ones are kind of irrelevant. Looks help, but only in the beginning. They don't really help you past a certain point. Doesn't matter how good you look. If your game isn't on point and they don't match the looks you have, then you're gonna be wildly socially uncalibrated, and you're just gonna look weird. You're gonna look weird. What else? Resources. Resources are cool because they indicate the presence of certain tangible or intangible cues. But that said, though, having the resources is not the same as being able to generate them. Because what really matters is the behavioral cues associated with your ability to generate and manage them. So if you think you can just circumvent that with just having the resources, it doesn't work that way, unfortunately. That's not a crazy statement. I got mango and pineapple on top. Thank you. Thank you. Mango, pineapple, bananas, grapes, blueberries. I'll put a raspberry in there. Well, whoa. Before I even say that, I'm going to say strawberry, right? All that before I even touch a watermelon. Before I even touch it. You feel me? So, yeah, that's how I feel about it. Let's see. I already read that one. Watermelon for me is less about flavor and more about texture and refreshment. Honestly, I feel like the texture would be better if the flavor was more, like if there was a burst of it. You know what I mean? I feel like the texture feels weird because of how bland it is. Real talk. Real talk. Mango's on top, to be honest. I tend to agree. Mango's up there for me for sure. It's top 3. Let's see. Amsterdam type shit. Wow, I've had a girl tell me she wouldn't want a daughter because she would be jealous. At least she was being honest. Very few women are honest like that. I'm from the Netherlands. Fish on me from Germany. Okay, fair enough. My apologies. I mixed them up. I've been to both countries, by the way. Funny enough, I've been to both. I've been to Frankfurt in Germany, and I've been to Deutschland. I've been to Amsterdam. That's the first place I heard a group of white men scream Deutschland at me and my dad while we were riding a horse at the top of their lungs. It was very hilarious. It was very funny. Let's see. Man, Willow's grown on you. For sure, she's like that little girl type shit. Willow is that bitch to me, man. Look at her. I'm waking her up out of sleep just to show her off again. She's so sleepy. She's just the cutest thing ever. And she's getting a little fat, too. I'm not even seeing her ribs anymore. In there, right, girl. Yes. She's adorable. Adorable girl. Let's see. Is attraction plus comfort equals seduction, or are they 3 separate things? I say they're all interconnected, but they are 3 separate things. I don't think attraction plus comfort equals seduction necessarily, because seduction still needs to happen. That's like saying, is presenting the offer and mitigating the risk gonna naturally equal sales? Not necessarily, because you still have to close on purpose. If you present the offer, you mitigate the risk, cool. But if you don't tell them how much the fucking thing is and give them a way to pay for it, no sale is gonna happen. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, they're all interconnected, but they're not the same thing. They're not the same thing. All right, let me go back to YouTube. So no weight training. When will I know it's time to add some in? Since I need to lose a lot of weight, I want to make sure I build enough muscle to fill up and lose skin and don't look saggy. Okay, how much weight are we talking about here? Because I feel like you're missing the most obvious thing to do here. You need to be on a calorie deficit. It's not just about how much training you're doing; it's about how little you're eating, right? So how much do you weigh right now, and how much weight are you looking to lose? And whatever amount of weight you think you need to lose, add another few pounds to it, maybe up to 10 or 20 pounds, because you're never going to be as lean as you think you'll look at that certain weight goal, unless you go leaner, unless you lose more weight. That's how the body works. It's kind of weird. You would think, oh, if I just lose 20 pounds right now, I'll look as lean as possible. No, you probably need to lose more than that. You'd be surprised where fat hides on the body. Right, but yeah, let me know what the numbers you're dealing with are. Are baddies more difficult to attract and have more attitude in your experience? Do you have any wadi repartee when she asks snobby? Huh? I'm guessing those words are spelled so incorrectly I can't even read them. Um, the answer to your question though, the first one is no. Baddies are actually easier to get, in my opinion. A woman with a higher self-esteem is always going to be easier to deal with, because when a woman has a higher self-esteem, which, by the way, in case you're not aware, is usually connected to attractiveness physically, women's self-esteem is directly correlated to how they look and, all that physical attractiveness. So if she looks better, she feels better. And if she feels better, she's going to be more receptive to your advancements than if she doesn't feel as good. A woman with a very low self-esteem and a woman that doesn't think too highly of herself is going to be extra sensitive, and that is where you get women that place a lot of landmines in the way of you talking to her. The girls that have all these tiny little icks that you have to go through and all these different things. Those are girls that are trying their best to auto-reject you. Basically, girls that feel like they're so unworthy of you and so ugly that they have to reject you before you get a chance to reject them, right? So, yeah, you'll always have an easier time dealing with women that have a higher self-esteem, that believe they deserve a guy like you to some degree, and maybe just have to work a little bit for him. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I actually have an entire course where I talk about that. In fact, go to my link in my bio right now. You can go and get the interview. If you're on YouTube, you can go to my recent video, go to my link in my bio, go and get the interview, and you'll see my entire sales page where I talk about that. Or if you're on TikTok, go to my link in my bio, and you'll have to click on my YouTube link to go to my latest YouTube video called The Approach, where I actually talk about the first 5 minutes of talking to a girl in detail. The first 2 parts are out. And yeah, go to the description in that video and get the link there. You feel me? Let's see. Todd V said advanced game is when you don't need state anymore. Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. I would say honestly, from later levels of intermediate, you shouldn't need state anymore. You shouldn't. The standard Ethiopian look is iconic to say the least, but who am I to judge? Type shit. It is. I agree. I think most of the African models come from there. Am I correct to say that? From that East African region, Ethiopia, Rwanda, Sudan, Kenya, right? 0 to 1 is so much harder than 1 to 10. Yes, indeed. It's harder to get past the first stages, but that's only because there's a deficit in skills. Understand, the reason it's hard to go from 0 to 1 is because of the deficit in skills. And so you have to learn all these hard-earned skills from the jump. But once you learn the basics, once you learn the fundamentals, and you understand what the fuck is going on, 10 to 20, 10 to 100, 100 to 1,000, all that's a lot easier. You feel me? Every game feels harder, right? I like to use the video game analogy. When you're playing a new video game story mode, it feels fairly difficult for you to get used to. But once you finish the game, you beat the final boss, now you have the skills. They're there. You know what to do. Even without all the extra, equipment or power-ups or weapons that you've gathered throughout the story, just going back to the beginning, playing from the jump without any of that extra shit anymore, you're still gonna have a much easier time playing in the beginning. Much easier. It's gonna feel like a breeze. Like it doesn't even register as something that's difficult because you've played it before. Because you've actually discovered and played and learned the hard-earned skills. That's it. Many tribes have a certain iconic look, which isn't usually the most aesthetically pleasing to. Teach a man how to fish type shit. Indeed. Whoever looks at a woman lustfully committed adultery in his heart. How do I practice game without doing that? You gotta read the actual reason for why Jesus even said that. Because it was Jesus that said that, right? Why did Jesus say that? What was the question he was asked? I love, Jesus Christ for one major thing is that he answered questions all the time that were sent to him by his detractors, right? It was people, the Pharisees, the Sadducees, that were constantly trying to throw him off his game. Every single time they came to him, and asked him a question or poked at him, it was always to try to trip him up, to try to see if he contradicts himself, to try to see if he, says something wrong or whatever. And his answer to every question was so consistent because he applied the one principle very strictly, which is, I am here to fulfill the law. Because the Pharisees came and were like, you should be living in accordance to the laws of Moses. And Jesus Christ came and said, it's not about following the laws to a T. It's about the heart. It's about the intentions. It's about what the laws are about. I'll give you an example. Take my favorite time that I like to talk about when it comes to how people question Jesus Christ all the time. We're just talking about him being a Captain Save-A-Ho, right? One of my favorite Jesus stories is when he was preaching and a group of men, an angry mob of men, dragged a woman to him and threw her at his feet. And they said, Jesus Christ, look at this chick. She was just caught in bed committing adultery with another man. A man that wasn't her husband. According to the laws of Moses, this woman is to be put to death. We should stone her to death. What say ye, Jesus Christ of Nazareth? What say ye? What do you say? Now, they could have just stoned the bitch and gotten over with it. But they came to him. Why? Because they wanted to trip him up. They want to question him. So what did he do? He squatted on the ground. And he began to use his finger to write in the sand. Which is a very clever move on his part. Because that's how you kill the momentum of an angry mob. Right? And when they were ready to receive what he was about to say, he looked up and said, let ye that be without sin cast the first stone. Whoever has never sinned before, be the first one to cast judgment against her by throwing stones against her. And then went back to writing on the sand. And over the next, I don't know however many minutes, the Bible doesn't say. They didn't actually have minutes back then, I don't think. But over the next period of time, however long it took, they all dropped their stones one by one. Because they all realized in their hearts, I too have sinned. So who am I to cast judgment against this bitch? So they dropped their stones. Eventually, everyone cleared out. Jesus walked up to the woman and went, my lady, where are your detractors? Where are your haters that are seeking to punish you according to the laws of Moses? And she said, Lord, I have no detractors. They're all gone. And Jesus said, well, neither will I. Go and sin no more. Go and sin no more. Jesus saved the hoe. Yes, I'm saying that to be funny, but it's also true. He literally saved the hoe. Right? But more importantly, look at his actions. He didn't condemn her. He didn't shame her. He didn't tell her to go to Catholic church and pay penance and recite 20 Hail Marys full of grace. None of that. He forgave her right then and there. And then asked her to forgive herself. That is what go and sin no more means. Because what is sin? People think sin means to break the law. No. The actual Hebrew original meaning of sin, where that word comes from, is to miss the mark, to fall short. Don't take my word for it, by the way. I might be talking bullshit. Please do your research on your own on all these things I'm saying, so you know that I'm not, lying to you. Because there's liars out here. So you better, study to show yourself approved. You know. But sin means to miss the mark. Miss the mark. Miss the mark. You had a mark. You missed it. So when Jesus was answering all these questions, whenever the Pharisees or the Sadducees came at him and went, "Oh, what does this mean?" You gotta understand, Jesus was always answering those questions from that same place, from that divine place of no need to judge, always willing to forgive, understanding. This is the best part: understanding man's nature. That's the whole exercise. That's the whole point of God in man's body. God living amongst men, to live like us, eat, breathe, take shits. Because in case it hasn't occurred to you, Jesus took shits when he was here. Of course he did. Well, you think he's too holy to excrete feces? He was living in the human body. And I say it like that to provoke you, by the way. Not to deify or demystify Jesus or anything, but to remind you that he was a man too. He was tired, he was hungry, he was angry, he was sleepy, he was hurtful, he was sad. Many different times throughout the Bible. So he understood man's nature. So when he said anyone that's looked upon another woman has already committed adultery in his heart, what do you think he was saying? Was he saying that to condemn you? Because Jesus was someone that went around condemning, right? Right? That's what he was. He was looking for opportunities to condemn people. When did Jesus Christ ever condemn anyone that wasn't someone that was trying their best to go against his preaching? Only people Jesus ever judged in the Bible, harshly by the way, right? When he called those people, the children of Satan. When he called those people outside of God's light, were who? The Pharisees. Ironically, the people who were trying their best to live in accordance to the laws of Moses. They were the people he said, "You are not of God." Every other people he didn't feel the need to condemn. So when he said, "When you look upon another woman, you've already committed adultery in your heart," do you think he said that to condemn and to judge? Or do you think he said that because it's the truth? It's biology, my friends. It's how it works. We've all fallen short of the glory of God. That's kind of the point. We live in human bodies. So yeah, that's the point. That is the point. That is the point. Now, with that said, and this is important, it's important to remember this part. He didn't say, "He who looks at another woman has committed adultery." He said, "He who looks at her lustfully." Right? That's the operative word there. The lust. Because I always say, lust is not the urge for women. That's normal. That's biology. Lust is when you allow the urge to take over you completely. Every deadly sin, as they are, is the same sin in multiple different areas, manifested in multiple different ways. It's the same sin, a lack of self-control. Wanting to eat something, being hungry, normal. Allowing your need for food to control you to the point of overeating, to the point of changing your decision making and prioritizing food. That's gluttony. Wanting more than enough, wanting to be in abundance is okay. Allowing that need for abundance to make you betray your soul, that's greed. Looking upon someone else and being like, what they have is cool, I aspire to that, it's okay. To be inspired by someone else, perfectly fine. Wanting what they have and for them not to have it, and to wish some kind of bad upon them so you can have what they have, that's envy. That's wrong. Being angry, perfectly fine. Jesus was angry many times in the Bible. Allowing that anger to control you to the point where that anger becomes unrighteous, that's wrath. That's a sin. Do we see the point? Do we see the point? So if I had to retranslate what Jesus said, I'm not trying to take him out of context. In fact, I'm trying to put him into proper context for you now. When he said, when you look at a woman lustfully, you've committed adultery. What he means to say is, when you allow the urge you have for a woman to take such control of you that you have no bearings about yourself anymore, and you begin to make decisions from that place of desperation, you have committed adultery. You have committed a sin. You have missed the mark. Okay? Oh, I hope that lands. I hope it does. It's very important stuff. Let's see. Repertoire and snubbish. Okay. Okay, let me go back. Do you have any witty repertoire? Oh, I said repertoire. My dumbass. Repartee. And repartee when she acts snubbish to your approach. If she's acting snubbish to your approach, it's not necessarily, I wouldn't take it as a rejection, so you shouldn't treat it like a rejection. You should only treat things like, I'll put it like this. If she acts snubbish and then you try to pass the shit test by using something clever to get past it, now you've made it a shit test. My thing to do is not treat it like a shit test. In fact, I treat it like it's a good thing. I treat it like it's normal. If I say something to a girl, or I open a girl and she acts snubbish to me, I'll reinterpret that like it's a good thing in the conversation, right? Like, for instance, I talk to a girl like, hey, you have a very pretty resting bitch face. Let's say she completely turns around and looks away from me. I go, yeah, I like it when you turn around from me like that. That's a beautiful dress. It's a nice dress. I like that. I interpret it like it's a good thing, what you just did. Does that make sense? Because the moment you treat it like it's a bad thing and try to work your way back up from it, that's when it becomes a bad thing. Now you solidify it. Right? It's like the stock market. It's only a loss if you sell. Don't sell. Buy more. Buy the dip. Okay? No, you're fine, man. I need to lose like 150-ish pounds. Okay, so yeah, it's not even about the training. You need to, what you put on your plate, and more importantly, what you take out of it is way more important than whatever training you do. 150 pounds. And also, if you need to lose 150 pounds, then you probably want to shoot for 170, just to be safe. Isn't confidence just interpreting everything as an indication of interest? You can think about it like that, for sure. Absolutely. In a way, confidence, especially delusional confidence, which is the best kind of confidence, is reinterpreting your entire world as positive, even though it might appear to be negative. You're always going to win more in the end when you just assume shit is right, even when it's wrong. You feel me? I left her text on red, wanted to see how long it would take her to text me again. 3 months later, she blocked me. That's so funny. Would you get married, and thoughts on it? I would get married as an experiment, honestly. You know what I mean? I think of marriage as a very unique circumstance to being in a relationship with a woman. It's a very unique situation because it's all loss, no gain. For the way it's set up right now, you know, depending on who you are and how you decide to, you know, create your own unique circumstance, you can definitely make marriage work for you. But yeah, for most people, the way they use marriage, which first of all, we can talk about how most people don't even know how to use marriage, or don't use it correctly, or don't know how to manage it correctly, or anything like that. They don't even know what marriage is for. But marriage is not a bad thing if you know how to use it correctly. It's not. It just needs to be used correctly, you know? Let's see. S&E, he said something like that, they can't take skills from you. Yes, he said that too, but that's not the quote I'm thinking about. Just had an argument with my girlfriend because she wants to talk to a guy who clearly wants her. Ooh, that's a mistake. Never argue over another guy. Never. Never. Because that gives the other guy power. Let me teach you how to conduct yourself. When you see a woman in your life doing her best to try to get closer to some other guy. Your job is to act as nonchalant about it as possible and to act like that guy is not a threat to you. Does that make sense? Not to mention, if you're conducting yourself correctly in your relationship, she should be way more concerned about who's around you than who she's around. Does that make sense? If you're doing everything correctly in your relationship, she should be the one in the role that you're playing right now. She should be the one being like, whoa, 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 who's that girl you're talking to? What's going on here? Especially if you're in a monogamous situation, right? So yeah, you've allowed yourself to flip the roles, and that's not good for you. You should never be the party that's more emotionally invested to the point where you feel like you have to defend your girl or to like argue with your girl to make her see things from your point of view. It's not necessary. Don't try to convince women, right? Don't change her mind, change her mood. Make her feel something. Thoughts on doing full body multiple times a week to boost testosterone versus something like a push pull legs or Arnold split. Um, Full body multiple times a week is dope. It's just time consuming most of the time. It doesn't really matter which one you want to do. I don't think either one has a more significant effect on your testosterone than you think. As long as you're doing exercise and doing something hard and putting your body under stress, you're fine, dude. You're fine. Jace, you personally want kids in the future or cool with that? Shit, as far as I know, I don't have any kids right now. As far as I fucking know. As far as I know. Right? But yeah, dude, I've talked about this multiple times. I'm gonna have like, it's gonna be nothing but experimentation for me, my children. You know, and I can't wait to have girls either. I know I won't mind being that guy that has nothing but girls. Right? If you want to know how far deep into this I want to go, I want to use my girls as a social experiment to see how well I can raise women that actually have like not just like common sense. I don't want to make it a jokey thing. Like I want to raise women that know how to play the game correctly from their point of view. Does that make sense? Because I feel like that's a part of the game that's missing. Is how to raise daughters, man, correctly, and to really keep your own mind and your own weird familial bias out of it. Because there's a correct way to raise girls, and it requires you to stop being so emotionally invested in yourself being their father. Does that make sense? What advice would you give the daughters? I would tell them everything about game. I would tell them, how men operate, how we work. I would tell them what to actually look out for in a man that they can feel genuinely safe and secure with. Right? I would tell them everything with regards to like how much leverage and power they actually have at what age and shit like that. The hardest thing to teach daughters, teach women in general, is how to identify a solid motherfucker. Because here's the problem with women in general. Whether they're moving through actual intellect or experience, or they're moving through instinct, they're doing it incorrectly. You, as a woman, hell, as a person, you really shouldn't rely on one over the other. You should find a way to marry and combine the two. And the problem with women in dating, and honestly people in dating in general, is that they're either moving purely with instinct or purely with, logic, experience, right? And so the challenge to teach my daughters, the challenge in teaching my daughters, is how to marry the two well enough so they can not only find a man that's good on paper, but that's good in the soul, right? That's actually genuinely good as a person, and not just good for the sake of being good, like powerful good. Like I want my son-in-laws to be powerful men, strong men, because they need to be strong enough to keep my daughter safe when I'm not there anymore. So I can't have a weak bitch. I'll never understand fathers that look at their son-in-laws that are either dating or marrying their daughters, and this guy's like a fucking pushover, and he's like, oh, this guy's good for my daughters. Like, no, he's not. He's weak. He's a bitch. I want my son-in-laws to have pushback when I talk to them. I don't want fucking, walk all over me motherfuckers. That's not a good thing. You don't want that as a father. That is if you're a good father that actually cares about your daughters and cares about their well-being and, where they're going to end up in life and shit. You don't want that. You don't want a daughter that's with a man that's just gonna treat her well. It's like some punk ass bitch. No. But then it becomes my job as a father to not only be an example of that man to her, so she knows what that man looks like on a fundamental level, right? I'm the father. I'm her first experience with masculinity in general. It's also my job to teach her how to use her instincts to aid her in the pursuit of that particular ideal situation with a man. Does that make sense? So yeah, it's a fun experiment for me, man. It's a fun experiment. I want to see how well I can pull that off. Because I know I can pull it off. I just want to know how well. You feel me? Um, let's see. Doing a variation of compound exercises that target your entire body and cycling diff ones during the week feels more masculine, natural to me. I think it's how our ancestors grew. I think that's how our ancestors actually built muscle. That's why it feels natural to you. The weak feels more masculine or natural to me. It's so funny that women in the Bible were the pimpiest, right? How interesting is that? Also, side note, what are your thoughts on biohacking? I mean, isn't that just what self improvement is? Let's be honest. It's just a different word for self improvement. Biohacking is understanding your biology as a human being more to better take advantage of it for your own personal success, right? Self improvement. That's it. Just has a fancy word to it, but that is self improvement. That is what self improvement essentially is. You feel me? So I do think there's some limitations to it because you're still trying to work within the rules of your biology as opposed to like live and transcend past them, which I think is a better way to go about doing things. It's hard for me to talk to my boss so respectfully and professionally, and man to woman. Okay, why is it hard? That should be the easiest thing in the world. You know what I mean? Easiest thing in the world. Uh, I know Jesus was doing the most in stressing his disciples. He was. He sounds like the homeboy that does too much. In some ways, yes. What matters more to women? I already read that one. His disciples must, is what you meant to say, must have probably told him that those women aren't worth it, but he was like, but I must on some, uh, but I must on some glorious purpose. Yes, probably. Uh, Guava. You like guava? I haven't. You know the funny thing? I haven't had guava since Nigeria, man. There's a lot of stuff I haven't had since Nigeria. I haven't had suya since Nigeria. I haven't had guava. I haven't had pear, the Nigerian pear, not the American kind. And my Nigerians know what I'm talking about. I haven't had agbalumo. That's a fruit you'll never see here in America. It just never will be here. And the seeds are so unique looking. But, I can't see agbalumo here. Um, let's see. Okay, this is where I was talking about fruit. I was always under the assumption that game is based off personality. This is new info for sure. Yes, learn that now. I'm happy you got in contact with this new information. But personality, what is personality, dude? Personality is whatever people assume you are based off of your behavioral cues towards them. So that's your habits, that's your preferred strategy for moving through life. That is what personality is. That's it. And the crazy part about the word personality is that even though it has the word person in it, you are not your personality. Your personality in itself and the way of thinking about it is a mask you wear. Right? So that's why personality is not as respected as should not be as respected as it is. Me and my dad act very similar when talking to women while he was only around for my entire life. The best form of game is just your character though, right? Pretty much. Your base character. The idea is to make the game that you have become you, like a part of you, a true part of you, so it feels natural. Avocado gets me going. You know what? People keep forgetting that avocado is technically a fruit, right? How interesting is that? Why do so many men and even some women try to downplay looks in the overall equation of dating? Um, I don't think the looks are downplayed though. I don't. Okay, if you're talking about the fact that a lot of men think that looks or try to talk about looks like they're not very important, it's because they're not wrong. Like I just said, maybe this is me downplaying looks, but yeah, looks will definitely get you attention from women. Don't get it twisted. I hope I'm not sound like I'm completely downplaying looks, like they're not important at all. Like they'll give you a massive leg up, especially in the front end. But unfortunately, there's a lot more to dealing with women than just looks. It gives you a leg up and leverage in the beginning, but there's still other intangibles you have to be able to demonstrate that looks don't necessarily indicate the presence of. Right? Looks are like marketing. Thank you. Perfect way to put it. Looks are like marketing. But marketing without good sales and you'll still have a shitty business. That's it. People go, which one is better, marketing or sales? Bitch, both. But sales is how you keep the lights on. That's how the money actually comes in. Marketing is how you get people to find out about the offer, right? But how they actually cash into the offer, sales. So you need both. But understand which one is more important. You feel me? Looks is just good marketing. That's it. It's just good marketing if it's done correctly. And that's why women themselves downplay it. Like, don't get it twisted. Women aren't exactly the most accurate source of information about themselves, right? People go, shouldn't you ask women about women if you want to talk about women? No, they're actually like the worst source of information because they're biased and they have all these different agendas they have to keep on. So they're not the best, source of information. With that said, even though their reason for downplaying looks is usually very malicious to make themselves look like they're not as what's the word I'm looking for? Not as what's the word I'm looking for? I'm almost saying superstitious, but that's not the word I'm looking for. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. I forgot the word. I know it ends with a sh sound, but whatever that superficial. Thank you. They try to act like they're not as superficial as they actually are. That's fair. That's why they downplay looks. But they're not really lying when they say some of the things when they say stuff like, you can have good looks and still have a really shitty, as they call it, personality. So they're not lying when they say that. And you see it in their actions too, by the way. You'll see a lot of women say it all the time. Like, I dated this guy who was very cute, was very good looking. We did it for 3 months. 3 months? Damn, 3 months? Okay, so if he was so good looking, why not stay with him forever? If that's how important looks are. Well, turns out it's not. There's other intangible things that matter more than looks. So yeah. Let's see. Why did you cut your locks just to grow them back? Listen, man. It's not that I even want to grow them back. I probably will cut these too, but I'm Nigerian, dude. My hair just does this. I don't know. It did it the first time. It did it the second time. It's doing it the third time. This is how my hair works. I leave my hair long enough and I go one fucking day without combing through. Boom, this happens. You feel me? How we doing, Jace? I'm doing good, man. How you doing, Mitzikins? I didn't see you yesterday. Mitzikins. I have beef now. My girlfriend and I had an argument about her. I read that one, didn't I? Then I told her to block him, then she unblocks him. That's so funny. But that's how it works, yeah. You were being an idiot trying your best to control her behavior around someone else. That's not going to work. If anything, it just makes you look weaker than the other guy. And God help you, the other guy has better game than you. And she's going to go to him and complain, my boyfriend said I should block you. And guess what he's going to say? If he has a good game, he's going to be like, really? That's unfortunate. Listen, he's just trying to protect you. He's just being a good guy. He genuinely cares about you. And honestly, I care about you enough to say that I'm happy you have someone in your life that's looking out for you. Boom. Now he's fucking your girl. Just like that. He who cares less has more power. Always remember that. And you're not forgiven just because you're the boyfriend and should care more. I'm sorry. It doesn't work that way. It's because the universe is cyclical. That's funny. Tight shit, indeed. The universe is cyclical, so is my hair. There's seasons of dread, and then there's seasons of low cut, and seasons of short fro. It is what it is. How can you intermittent fast and bulk at the same time? You really can't, to be honest. The idea isn't to bulk while you intermittent fast. You can definitely maintain or get lean, but you're not bulking. You need to be in a caloric surplus to be able to bulk, right? You need to be eating a lot. Bro, my bad. I was traveling from Liverpool to London. Will not miss the next one. All right, cool. If you're being truthful, if you're saying the truth, I'll believe you. Physically fought with my father before he died. Never got an apology. Damn. What about? I'm very curious. What did you fight about? I have lots of fast twitch muscle fibers, and have always been one of the fastest around me. Type shit. How often do you fast or bulk then to maintain your size? I haven't bulked in, I want to say, 3 years. I've been living the fasted life for about then. Yeah, since then. So, I mean, y'all can remember, what was the last time I was like fat? I was fat not too long ago. Was it 3 years ago or like 2.5 years ago? Maybe 2 years now. I remember these timelines according to where I was living. I remember I was still living in my studio at the time. Yeah, so about 2 years ago. Right? When I was still fat. Well, when was I fat? You guys should remember. I was doing like first person videos, head and shoulder videos or whatever they're called, and my cheeks were like this. I guess let me ask, how do you get to this size 3 years ago? Oh yeah, you bulk, duh. You fucking bulk. You can't get big without like bulking, duh. You have to bulk. But then when you're done with the bulk, and honestly, bulks should not take longer than like 3 to 5 months. If you're doing it correctly, eat a fuck ton, work out a fuck ton, rest a fuck ton, and you'll be there in no time. And then from there, it's just a matter of leaning out and shredding all the fat and leaving yourself nothing but lean muscle. And how did you combine it with fasting, or did you not do both? Oh, you can't do both. I told you can't do both. You can't fast and bulk at the same time. It's not gonna work. You cannot. You cannot. And for those of you that are living a fasted life, if you want to get big, for sure, please keep a hold on the fasting, just the bulk, because again, you can't do both at the same time. But yeah, make sure that you understand what you want to do when you want to do it, so you can do the correct thing at the right time. Let's see. It gives me a great sense of urgency and consequence when dealing with other people. Because your father didn't apologize to you for fighting him? What? I'm so confused. What would you say is the second biggest element of game is after frame? Tension, by far. The manipulation of tension is everything. I would probably put frame in second to tension, because you can't even create a good frame if tension isn't involved. But I'm not as strong as other kids around me, so they have a correlation. Yeah, strength is usually correlated to like slow twitch fiber. Also, in your mind, are frame control or frame setting the same thing? Frame setting, frame control, frame maintenance, all those things are under the idea of frame. But I wouldn't separate them as two different things, but I wouldn't classify them as the same thing either. Does that make sense? It's like the difference between a file and the different or a folder and the different files within it. Does that make sense? They're all under the umbrella of frame, but there are different aspects of it. Like, we talk about tension, and we talk about tension creation. We talk about relieving tension. We talk about using compliance when you have tension maintained in the middle there and stuff like that, right? So there's different aspects to the same thing, but it's the main thing, right? Also, do you have any idea how to open a cold call indirectly or directly? For cold calling specifically, there's different ways to do it. It depends on what you're selling, obviously, but it all comes down to the vibe you want to create. What state do you want your prospect to be in when they're listening to you? A calm, relaxed state, an urgent or hyper type of state, or do you want them more somewhere between confused and curious? Because again, it depends on what you're selling. It depends on the industry you're in. It depends on like the price range, high ticket, low ticket, mid ticket. There's not a correct one size fits all type of answer. It depends. Is there a number 3 after tension and frame to you? I mean, yeah, you could go all the way to number 50 if you want, but those two are by far the number 1 and 2 for sure. Frame and tension and frame. All right. What would number 3 be? Number three would be the compliance, obviously. The number three is compliance because you can have good frame, you can have the ability to manipulate tension correctly. If you don't use those things to create better emotional investment by getting compliance out of her, it doesn't matter. Fuck your game, right? So frame, tension, compliance in that order. Let's see. Uh, oh yeah, we're talking about the indirect or direct. It's not even about how direct or indirect it is. Like, what do you want them to feel? What do you want them to actually feel when you're, giving your spiel? What do you think is the best state would be to get them in for selling home batteries? What opener? Home batteries, like, again, you got to think about it from their POV. What are they likely doing when they pick up your phone call? And then from that point on, reverse engineer it. They're going about their day. Are they at work? Are they getting a coffee? Are they talking to their wife? Are they even arguing with their wife? What are they doing? And then when they pick up your phone, what is the thing you can say that'll make them stay on the phone longer without looking for an out to hang up the phone? Either at work or after work. That's where they are. Okay, cool. That means you almost need them in somewhere between a confused or relaxed state. Why? Because that's what they're looking to do right now. They're looking to chill. They're at work or after work. They're either hoping to get to the point where they can like get out of work, or they're out of work and they're just trying to relax. The last thing you want is to create urgency. Not at the beginning. You can slowly build it as you go. But in the beginning, you hit them with urgency. That's not the energy that's fitting their vibe right now. If you try to give them like confusion and curiosity, it'll keep them on a little longer. But yeah, I think that's the best one. That or just making them feel calm. Like, hey, how you doing today? Am I speaking to so and so? Yeah. If by the way, that's how you create calm. Am I speaking to so and so? They'll be like, yeah, who's this? And then you give them authority. Oh, I'm just so and so from this company. I'm here asking you about your current uh, I don't know how you would say it for your industry, but basically ask them a question that is related to their solar panel, their electricity, or whatever. Like, what, I'm here doing some particular research or whatever, a survey to ask you about your current home electricity and blah blah, and then go from there. They'll ask you some questions. You reward them for every time they give you compliance. Game or sales is the same thing, right? And then you slowly lead them into, more leading questions. That way they can start investing in the problem you're trying to put in front of them. You feel me? Very important. Please don't try to move in there with urgency offering. You will fail. Sin is also the name of the moon and god of Ur. Thus, we can equate sin to being deceived by your own emotions. Exactly. Would you say it's better to act like a formal authority at first or a friend with rapport? I would say if you're catching them right after work, especially, I would say not even a friend with rapport, like a curious and concerned citizen. That would be the best way. Curious and concerned citizen. Like, I'm really concerned that you're not taken advantage of, quote unquote. Does that make sense? Because then that'll increase their curiosity. Like, oh wait, hold on, what should I be curious about? What is this about? Why are we talking right now? And then you can go into your spiel. You know. Let's see. Left on text. Oh, okay. They're not showing me love on YouTube anymore. You guys want me to answer your questions? Okay. One thing I like doing is acting confused as to whether I'm talking to the right person or not. Makes them curious. That works. That works. But it only buys you like what, 5 seconds? Am I really sure I'm talking to the right person? And then they'll confirm. Which, by the way, is compliance. You can definitely like reward that just to make them feel, good about the conversation happening so far. But then the problem with that is transitioning from that into the next phase, which hopefully you're not using authority. You don't really need to start bringing up authority until later in the conversation. At the beginning, especially on phone calls, because they're very delicate. If you're in person, sure. But on phone calls where they can choose to anytime they want just click and that's the end of the conversation, you need to cajole them. You need to cajole them into seeing the value of the problem you're trying to solve first. Like, first of all, even recognizing that they have a problem. Get their attention on that. Getting them to feel the pain point. Then when they're like, wait a minute, so what do I do about this problem? By the way, my name is, this is what I do, this is what I offer. Does that make sense? You know the funny thing? I just thought about this. In the movie The Wolf of Wall Street, that's literally the same script for The Wolf of Wall Street. Go watch the movie Wolf of Wall Street. You know that scene where Leonardo DiCaprio's character, Jordan Belfort, is teaching his friends how to sell over the phone? That's literally the system he used. Give him the offer first. Give him like the problem you're trying to solve. What if I told you that I could put you in at $2,000, pull you out at $20,000, 3 months flat? You know, just sell the fucking penny stocks. And then they go, whoa, that actually sounds amazing. By the way, who is this? Oh, my manners. My name is Jordan Belfort, founder and CEO of Stratton International. Right? That's how you do it. Authority comes after positioning. Okay? It's like jiu-jitsu. Right? Position then submission. You got to put him in place, then go for the kill. My phone just died right when I asked the report question. Can you please repeat? My phone just died. It's such a goofy excuse. Because how did you get here back so fast? Goofy boy. Report. Going over everything I just said. Don't try to build rapport at first. You want to, like, it's not the goal is to build rapport. The goal is to make sure they understand the problem that they have. Like, make them recognize the problem. So especially if you're, actually going for them when they're right after work, you want to make sure that they're in a calm, relaxed state when you talk to them. But you also want them to have a little bit of concern in the back of their mind. So make sure you solve the problem, give them the pain point. Then, in establishing the pain point, you establish your authority by positioning yourself as the person that can help them solve that problem. Okay? How powerful is pretty privilege when it comes to men? Are women more forgiving for attractive men? Absolutely. Absolutely. It is a powerful thing, especially in the beginning. If you want a real life example of this, by the way, go and watch this guy's stream. Marlon, he just did a H&M thing, like a collaboration, like a modeling gig with them. Fucking fantastic. That guy's going places. But his entire following is built off of showing men what life looks like as a physically attractive guy. And what do you see? It's women going out of their way to put themselves in his vicinity, going out of their way to give him excuses, make things easier for him, blah, blah. Now, here's the thing, though. What no one ever sees is the fact that Marlon actually has decent enough game to carry along with his looks. Unfortunately, a lot of men aren't like Marlon. That's why he's the one getting all the attention and all those streams and all those views and numbers. Most good-looking guys don't have the personality to carry. So I wish there was a guy who was like the good-looking guy with no game who would have like his own following, so you can see the contrast. Because then you would see that guy have good looks, have women do their best to make excuses for him, and then him still fail because his game is not matching. Does that make sense? I had to run to my charger. My friend, this is importante. Oh, fair enough. I thought you said the phone died. Didn't realize it was dying. But yeah, I feel that. But yeah, like that's literally what's going on when it comes to like looks and stuff. One thing I like doing is acting confused. I already read that one, didn't I? Yeah, you can really tell Jace used to preach on the streets. I did, actually, for many years. Many years. I always say my biggest advantage in game and pickup is precisely that. I had a much easier time dealing with stuff like approach anxiety and nervous energy than most other people. Because before I ever had to sell game to women, before I had to drop game on women, I had to sell Jesus to people. And let me tell you something. Selling Jesus is very difficult. Right? It's called the good news, but trust me, not everybody wants it. So if you can sell that, if you can sell people on the idea of the gospel, you can sell anything, in my opinion. You can sell anything. You can sell fish to an Eskimo. How do they say it? Not fish. Ice to an Eskimo, right? You can sell ice to an Eskimo. You can sell melanin to a black man. You can sell fucking. What would be the stereotype there? No, I'm not gonna say that. But yeah, you can sell that. You can sell anything, and that definitely helps my game to this day. Just walking around the streets, talking to random people about, like, forcing random people to talk about something they don't want to talk about is a skill, dude. It's a fucking skill. Right? It's a very important skill to have too, by the way. Or sometimes I'll act like I've spoken to them previously. Or did that one? Didn't you just repeat that? I see the gap in skill between me and him when I talk to my girls about Jesus. Hey, don't worry, you'll get there. You'll see. Do you feel like indirect stuff is better than overtly saying, "Hey, I'm from XYZ company"? Nah. Never start out with authority. Start out with the problem. Let me tell you why it sucks to start out with authority in that way, especially in high tech and sales, because you're breaking the number one rule of sales, which is to be the other person oriented. So there's two different kinds of mindset in sales. There's me consciousness, me oriented, and then there's other person oriented, their POV, their wants, their needs. And ultimately, what makes a good sale is your ability to communicate to them their fucking needs. Draw them in with what they are interested in, right? That's what matters. So if you go in with, "This is what I am, this is what I do," they don't give a fuck. They don't care. They don't care. So start out with, "This is what you want. This is the thing that is a pressing need for you right now." Is it a pressing need for you, by the way? Get a confirmation out of them. Yes, it is a pressing need for me right now. Right? You don't have to make them say like verbatim, but like paint a picture for them and say, is this something that you'd like? Or is this something you'd like to get away from? And then they go, "Yeah, this is okay, this is something I'm interested in. Oh, by the way, I'm the person that you need to solve this problem for you." That's how you plug in the authority. That's how you come in. Right? They're in the desert. They need water. Don't be like, "Hey, I'm leader of Spring Water Internationals." Mm-mm. Be like, "Damn, this is a hot day in the desert today, and it's gonna get freezing below, ice temperatures later in the night. It's gonna be something else. I bet you wish you had a nice glass of water out here, don't you?" "Yes, I need water." Oh, it's funny you mentioned that. Actually, I actually have a lot of water back here. I happen to be transporting water through this desert all the way to the other side. Would you like some? "Oh yes, I'd actually like some water. I'm actually selling them if you're interested." You get the point? What do you mean by starting with the problem? Pain point. Pain point. Or you're in sales, so you better get good at understanding how pain points work, right? But in your case, with the solar panel thing, you almost want to create a script, and by the way, you definitely have to create a script for this. Create a script that forces the conversation into talking about the major pain points of not having what you're selling, which is the government subsidy, the 2027 deadline, government enforcement, all that good stuff. Start with that. Find a way to create a script that forces the conversation to that direction. Like you should have been able to explain all that long before they even go, "By the way, who is this?" And then you go, "Oh, my manners. My name is. Here's what I do. Here's what I can do for you to help to alleviate this pain you have." You feel me? And do you want to do that through questions or statements? Questions, by far. Questions, because you want them to participate. Their participation is what's the most important thing in sales. Like, sales is communication. And communication is a back and forth thing. You speak, they speak. All right? So they have to participate in their own, they have to be willing participants in the conversation. Let's see. I sometimes think about a little Jesus practicing game because he needed practice in saving all those women, and I know he got to practice a lot more times than the ones we know. Exactly. The Bible doesn't account for everything he did during his life. He talked to those women so skillfully, you know he practiced. You know he did. Also, do you have a top 3 books on sales, or are you more on the just practice books are irrelevant side of things? I think both. What? Why would I? No. What? Both. Practice, yes, but I mean, when I tell you guys to go practice your game, don't I also give you guys resources to look up on and read and go through? I mean, I have fucking courses, right? Any help you can get is better, and honestly, if you can pay for it, even better because you get the information faster. Just get the fucking answer to the fucking exam questions. You know, the universe doesn't care how you got the answers as long as you get the right ones, even if you cheat to get the answers, right? So yeah, fucking read books, as many books. Watch YouTube videos. There's a lot of guys on YouTube that'll teach you sales, high ticket sales, right? And they also offer their own coaching programs if you want to get into those as well. So, absolutely, get a bunch of resources around those as much as possible, as soon as possible. Okay? Yeah. Let's see. I got a question for you. Oh, I didn't even give you any book recommendations. Actually, I got one here, right? Hold on. Here's a great book on sales. First of all, I don't have a physical copy of this one, but start with Alex Hormozy's $100 million offers. Understand the structure of building an offer. So let's start with that. Then read just about anything by Richard Bronson, but you can definitely start with this. .com Secrets. This is more oriented to online sales, right? But the principles remain the same. It talks about building offers, selling them, all that good stuff. Honestly, the top 3 books can be all 3 of Hormozy's books: $1 million offers, $1 million leads, money models. You know, $100 million offers, $100 million leads, $100 million money models. You can just literally read those 3. But then for high ticket sales specifically, a lot of the guys that I listen to, honestly, are on YouTube. There's quite a few guys that I listen to. Hold on, let me see. Because I used to be subscribing to people. I don't even know their names. I don't even remember their names. But, yeah, I will give you those names as soon as possible. Now, should I use the Chrome? Chrome might be... Because I'm using that for my school. By the way, if you haven't joined the school community, this is the time to do it, okay? Get on school. Let's see. Where is that one guy? What was his name? He's an Australian guy. On my playlist. There we go. Josh Lyons Sales might be the best guy I've seen on high ticket sales on YouTube. Very small channel, very niche. But in my opinion, this guy, like, he's literally less than 10K subscribers on YouTube. But this guy, Josh Lyons Sales, tell him I sent you. Go follow him. Right? That guy. He's good. Josh Lyons with a Y Sales. He's probably the best guy on YouTube with high ticket when it comes to high ticket. There's a few other guys I listen to, but I would say his stuff, in my opinion, really resonates with me the most because he cares more. He cares less about technique and more about identity. Because don't forget, when it comes to anything like, sales, especially high ticket, it's not really about the technique that you learn. The technique is important, obviously, but it's really who you are when you're using the set techniques. Does that make sense? Once I graduate from this company, you can hire me as a sales rep. Haha, tight shit. I need them soon, actually. So hurry the fuck up. If you can get to, honestly, if you can get to like 100,000 in revenue, cash collected, let's talk. Once you get to 100,000, let's talk. All right. Let's see. Or sometimes I act. Wait, I gotta scroll back up. Do I? I think I missed a few. Okay, let's go. Preach. Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah, good. Or are you more? I did right now. I got a question for you. Be very careful in your answer. Say less. You're gonna hear from me soon. Very good. What's the question? What do you sit on, sleep on, and brush your teeth with? Is that a riddle? Sit on, sleep on, and brush my teeth with a bed, a chair, and a toothbrush. What kind of riddle is that? I'm so curious. Um, let's see. Isn't confidence just interpreting everything as an indication of interest? Yes, it is. Answer that one. Have you ever heard of this guy called Akbar from a dating or relationship TV show called Love and Hip Hop? He had multiple women. They were all arguing over him. Some decent game, not gonna lie. Shout out to Akbar. I have heard of him. I haven't actually seen Love and Hip Hop, but I have heard of him. I've heard whispers of him. Where do we find the link for a 1v1 call? I know on YouTube, but I don't know which vid. Literally, either of my last two vids, I think, is on there. My last two. Go on there, you'll see it. It's hard for me to speak to my female manager, so respectfully, please do. We talked about that yesterday. I give up, bro. I'm not typing this out again. It keeps deleting. Oh, I'm so sorry about that, man. TikTok can be frustrating. How can I push myself to change? I've been stuck being this miserable, weak person for so long. Let that pain that you feel, that discomfort, that anger you have towards yourself, let it fuel you, right? But you need to actually take action. You can be mad all you want. If you're not taking action, it doesn't matter. So you need to find something difficult to do and start doing it. You're weak because you're avoiding doing difficult things. So go do some hard to do things, okay? Let's see. How we doing, Mexicans? Seeing you again. Bro, I read that one. I saw this amazing YouTube short film that shows the agony of the friend zone, but if you go to the comments, you can see that men didn't learn the right lesson of the MC's ordeal. Yeah, most men missed the mark. Let's see. I already read these ones. Cause it reminded me of when the neighbors wouldn't let me play. What are we talking about, Kashir? I feel like TikTok is taking away a lot of your messages because you're not typing them with the correct amount of finesse. You feel me? Let's see. You said you can't fast in bulk, but how come some people put on more weight during Ramadan, for example? That's how your body naturally reacts, usually, when you stop eating for a while. When you stop eating the same amount of food and stuff like that, you add weight. I forget how to explain it on a scientific level, but it's like it has something to do with water weight and how water weight is redistributed in your body. But that's normal. That's normal. The first week or so, or the first is it week or 2 weeks? But yeah, your weight will go up and then it'll just crash right the fuck down. If you say that and truly think of their POV, if you were in the friend zone, it makes sense. What are we talking about? I mean that I never got to apologize to him. Oh, to your father. I remember that question. You fought your father, you never got to apologize to him. That's fine. Do it now. It doesn't have to be done physically. Your father isn't dead, as in gone, as in non-existent. He's just his body no longer operates in this plane of existence, and that's okay. But he's still there. He still exists. You'll meet him again. Just apologize to him right now. He'll feel it. It's fine. Is there a number 3 after tension in frame to you? Already said that. Compliance. Say you automatically create tension and relieve it. What is the level of compliance steps? You should be gaining compliance before you relieve the tension. That's why the tension is there. You feel me? What do you think the best state would be to get them in for? I did that one. Okay, I think I'm catching up the messages now. You think a sales job would be good for me once I turn 18? Absolutely. You can get one before you turn 18, I think. Would you say it's better to act like a formal authority? I already read that one too. I'm obviously focusing on learning the skill, but the better I get at it and the more focus I give it, I think I could create a bunch of value and in turn a bunch of money. Yes. But always remember, the value is more important than the money. That's how you make the money. I didn't write my last question well. I said that if you look at the woman's perspective of you and who would sell himself for the idea of her. I also realized that what women do to gain more investment in the friend zone is the same thing we do with game. It's so weird that the same principle that can be men's damnation can also be their salvation. I understand that entire thing. Like, it's why I say stuff like, disagreeable men are attractive, disagreeable women are not, right? Because the same rules that apply to us don't apply to them. It's just not the same, right? My boy live this late. Yes, indeed. Had to run my charger. I already read that one. What do you mean by? I already read that one too. Okay, good. A lot of it was just pinned up before. That guy Marlon is definitely a secret looks maxer. It must require a lot of work to maintain. Him, the way his appearance, yes, it's definitely a secret look, man. Look, absolutely. You can't look like that and maintain that look without some very purposeful effort being put into it. So shout out to him. Um, so you got, oh, I read that one, didn't I? I didn't even write any trigger words, and TikTok still took out most of my comments, man. Once I graduate from this company, I read that one. Oh, damn it. That means TikTok is really, going out of its way to take y'all out. That's crazy. Would you do an in-person class with your students? Yes. What is something hard to do? Whatever you are the most scared of to do. Hey, what's going on, Philip? How we doing, man? Always flawless skin. I try. All right, let me give YouTube some love real quick. Expand on how to handle that earlier if she follows a guy or you get weird vibes. What are we talking about? If she follows a guy or you get weird vibes? Oh, like on social media? Again, she should be more worried about you than you about her. So you shouldn't even be getting those vibes at all. It should be like it doesn't even register. Right. So the real problem there is you're not exciting enough. You're boring her, and that's why she's seeking excitement somewhere else. If you were exciting, if there was actual genuine competition around you in your time, she would be too worried about you for you to, even notice that she might be trying to do something in the background, which she wouldn't be if she's too worried about you. You mean? I've been watching what I eat. I've lost 30 pounds so far, but I just wanted to speed up the process as fast as I can since it's going to take a while to lose 170 pounds. No, it wouldn't. If you stayed dry fasted for a whole 3 months, you'd drop all that shit immediately. I'm not saying you should do that. I'm just saying, again, it comes down to getting your body to go from metabolizing external energy to the one that's stored internally. I have danced close to women, and I swear I'm never forceful and never transgress a boundary, but I notice a few of those women deny themselves agency and pull back and just say they were following. And that is scary to me. People eat a lot, but after the sunset, what are we talking about? I'm so confused. Because I thought we meant following social media, but now we're talking about something else. What are we talking about, Omar? Can you expand on that for me? Let's see. I said the women's POV of you in the friend zone is that of a spineless man that has sold his self-respect at the altar of the idea of her. And when you tell them this, they get so triggered. Do they now? I mean, yeah, they do. That's true. Women know what they're doing in the friend zone. They just hate when they get caught. I had a dream. I asked where he was. He said, "Don't be stupid, nigga. What we? Oh, that's so funny. Your father? You had a dream. You asked him where he was, and he said, "Don't be stupid, nigga." Well, so where is he? I don't know about your father. This would probably be funnier if I knew more about him. Where is he? What's going on, Sal? Why are we here at this time? I have a 8:30 8:30 GMT. I can see my life. That's hilarious. I can see my life changing. My relationship with others seems to change too. The old me who made those mistakes, I'm assuming, is gone. Very good. Very good. Very good. You guys are like, you're here. What the fuck? I'm gonna be leaving soon, so you better be grateful while I'm here. And I will be leaving in less than 30 minutes. So, fucking get to it. You heard? Fucking get to it. You heard? Fucking get to it. You heard? I swear, man. I keep reminding myself the best YouTube videos, the best YouTube channels have less than 5,000 subscribers. By far. That's when the real value is. That's what no one seems to understand. The best shit on the internet is so hidden. It's so hidden. Like, just in the background, my guy. Like, man, the people who have made videos that genuinely changed my life have less than 10,000 subscribers usually. It's so weird. And the longest, unedited, most boring videos, but they're the ones packed with the most value by far. Just packed, just with so much value. You feel me? Let's see. Made those connections is dying, and I'm okay with it. I'll try to reestablish it, but I'm gonna be the new Sal. I'm happy you're going through that. Uh, let's see. I believe that when we die, we return to underlying source of potential, God. So, bro was telling me he's in the source code. There we go. Yes. You said that the guy who cares less has more power, and I agree, but it's hard to find a balance in that. Um, Especially in the back end of a relationship, yeah, it is hard to find a balance. You're so right. There is a point where you can get too nonchalant, and it begins to make her implode for sure. With that said, though, you'll know you're getting there when her emotions are at the highest. So use that as a good way to measure, as a good way to gauge. Does that make sense? When you're going a little too far in your nonchalance. Let's see. How to find YouTubes with less than 5,000 subscribers. When the student is ready, the master will appear. They're always there in front of you. You're just not noticing them because that's not what you're looking for right now. They're always there. Like, that's the thing. It's not like that they're physically hidden. They're hidden beyond your own perception of reality. That's really how they're hidden. Does that make sense? There was a video on TikTok that I saw when I first got on TikTok saying that high IQ videos get less traction than the videos who are for midwits. Yeah, pretty much. Because there's more midwits on the world, on the planet, than high IQ people. You gotta understand, most of the high level marketing and whatever that you see out there, the social media content, videos, it's geared towards the most common denominator of person, which, in a very simple way of putting it, means the slowest, dumbest, most childish, most incompetent person. I'm not kidding when I say that either. Like, they literally teach you this in marketing. If you want to sell one to many, like in a lot, you want to gain a lot of traction. You want as many people to buy something as possible. You want to do three major things. One, communicate as clearly as possible. Two, communicate as simplistically as possible. The average, this is how they say it, the average American can't read or can't comprehend above a third grade level. So you want to keep the language as simple and to the point of stupid, right? Like just stupid, simple language as possible, right? And then, did I mention all three yet? Oh yeah, remove as much risk as possible, as much effort, and as much risk, and as much hard work involved. The less hard work they have to do, the less friction they have to go through, the easier for them to buy. So that means less pages in your sales funnel, less steps to go through to purchase the item or service or whatever. The less, the better. So yeah, that's why you see the numbers shape up the way they do, depending on what you're looking at. You know, neural knowledge has been a gem right now. Neural knowledge is a fucking G. I love me some neural knowledge. He's dope. No movie or TV show has properly educated men that the friend zone is their fault. Yeah, because it's not designed to. Again, remember what I just talked about with mass marketing. You can't tell people that want to feel convenience at all times that the reason that they're in a bad position is their fault. That goes directly against good mass marketing. Good mass marketing makes it feel like nothing is your fault. You are to not take responsibility for anything, right? And so, I mean, that's ironically why they're in the position they're in. But yeah, that's how it works. I would love an anime that focuses on game properly that would shape a generation. Man, that would be great, but it won't make any money. That's why no one will tackle that quite yet. If you notice, right, if you look at Japan right now, what's coming out of Japan? Every art from every country is always a reflection of the state of the country. If you notice what's going on in Japan right now, the anime that is taking up the most space, the anime that has the most traction, the anime that's being produced the most are isekai. For those of you that don't know, isekai is the word for another world in Japanese. Another world. So, sekai is world or planet, or Earths. It's used interchangeably like that sometimes. Isekai is another world, right? So that genre of anime deals with a male protagonist usually finding himself in another world, either being whisked away from the world he's in and thrust into another one, or being born in another one, reincarnated somehow with all the memories from his previous world intact, or something else. Maybe there's a magical property or element to it. Maybe there's scientific base, sci-fi, whatever, fantasy, whatever. Isekai is the biggest anime in Japan right now, and as a result, the most produced kind. And there's so many different types. It's kind of annoying, and they all have long, unnecessary names, whatever. But why is that the case? Because Japan is going through this weird phase where the young people, the young men especially, have given up on their society. They feel like they'll never succeed in their society. They feel like they can never become useful, impactful members of society. So they've become social recluses. They actually have a name for it. What's the name for it? What's the name for it? You guys know what the name is when a Japanese person becomes like a social recluse and just stays in their house forever and doesn't come out and doesn't work a job and doesn't go to school. What's the Japanese name for it? Hikomori. Thank you. Hikomori. That's the word. I almost said chunubyo. Chunubyo is essentially a dweeb, someone that's into anime. No. A neat, yes. A neat hikomori. That is what the word is. Someone that never fucking leaves the house. What kind of media do you think that person wants to consume the most? Exactly. They want to live vicariously through a more courageous, more brave, more instinctual, more competent anime main character that has the opportunity to live in a much different world than the one that they live in. Not only is isekai the biggest genre for that very reason in Japan right now, it's the isekai that specifically focus on going from a boring, mundane, society-based life to a different world. The biggest one right now, I think, is Zom 100. I've only watched one episode of it, the first episode. And the moment I watched it, I'm like, this is exactly why it's one of the biggest anime right now. And this is exactly why I'm not watching the rest of the shit. Here's what the anime is about. It's literally, and they do, again, go watch this anime. It was animated by the same studio that animated My Hero Academia. Amazing animation, amazing color schemes, just fucking beautiful to look at, right? This anime. Zom 100 is what it's called. It's a zombie apocalypse anime, essentially. It's literally like The Walking Dead anime version. But the first episode, they really go out of their way to sell how hopeless this kid is. Which, by the way, I find this ironic. The main character, he works as an anime. Is that a one? Am I fucking this up right now? Yeah, I think he works as an anime animator in one of the animation companies. Like he's one of those guys that work all those crazy hours animating new stuff. You know, he's pouring his life into it. He barely has time to be at home. He barely sleeps at home. He sleeps in the office or on the train on the way home. Doesn't even make it home. He's like passed out, right? That's how hard he's working. He thought it would be one way. He was full of excitement. And then he worked the real job and realized he's just working himself to the bone for no fucking reason. His life is complete shit. And here's the worst part. They really emphasize this in this episode. The girl that he had a crush on that he was working with was getting fucked by the boss. So even his prospect at romance, cut off, gone. Done. And so that episode ends in the crescendo. What's the crescendo? All of a sudden, there's some kind of zombie virus going around. And he essentially becomes like a badass zombie killer. But here's the beautiful thing about the entire anime. Up until when he discovers that he doesn't have to go to work tomorrow, which, by the way, when he finds out that there's zombies, that's the only thing on his mind. I don't have to go to work tomorrow. I don't have to go to work. He's excited by that. He's so excited and elated by that, he goes into a zombie killing frenzy with a smile on his face. Right? That's how crazy this anime is. But also, what you notice about the editing of the anime is that it goes from everything looking dull and gloom and gray, to the moment where he realizes, I don't have to go to work today, everything becomes so colorful. Right? And they do that on purpose for a reason. Why? Because that is what sells. When Anita or Hikomori watches that episode, that is the dopamine fix that they're looking for. The ability to go from my life is boring and mundane and repetitive to holy shit, new world, new prospect. That's why that anime is one of the biggest right now. It's huge in Japan. It's huge. Go Google it, Zom 100. It'll show you the exact psychology I'm trying to talk about here. And I said that all to say this, right? This is exactly what people are looking for. And that's why the marketing reflects it. Don't get mad at Hollywood for pushing out these bullshit superhero movies over and over and over again. They're just trying their best to respond to the market. Does that make sense? Who is this? What is going on here? Anyway, um, oh, there we go. I was doing this. I gotta come back here though. It means say no during a dance. What's you gonna camera? Bro, handsome as shit. Thank you, thank you. Okay, I'm gonna go back to TikTok. Uh, let's see. Is that why they've been advertising? Uh, been advertising coming for me, to come. I've the Zom 100. Is that what you mean? The irony of anime is that it's the last masculine medium. Anime transformations are literally an allegory for puberty. Yes, every good shonen anime is based on the hero's journey, from spineless, weak little bitch to strong masculine man. The problem with anime is that it gives you an outlet to live vicariously through a fictional character as opposed to going out to live this life for yourself. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, keep that in mind. I watched it and got so annoyed, making him look like a victim of the friend zone. Uh, Lelouch is my go-to example of a strong man. He is. Lelouch is interesting though, because he becomes strong in the end, right? Especially in the end because of his. I don't want to spoil it for anyone that hasn't seen it, but because of what he does in the end, it's very impressive what he does. At first, he starts out as like a very manipulative, evil, selfish, greedy little brat that uses his power recklessly, and it ends up burning him in the end, right? Like he learns how to have more respect for his power because he uses his power recklessly, and it fucking destroys him, and that makes him a stronger, better, more concise hero in the end. So it's a beautiful story. I like that story. I also like My Hero Academia. I don't like the fact that they added all those quirks to him later, but I do like the idea behind it. Um, what the fuck is going? Hold on. What is this? Sorry about that. Um, he could have bagged that girl in the first episode if he wasn't so spineless. The Zom 100 guy, yeah. Man, that sounds like my life. I got to do better. You do. My idea is an action show while having an underlying game subplot. Not much of a focus, but enough to pay on the next generation, similar to what Cher from Road to El Dorado did to me. Fair enough. What are some countries you think would be easiest to come in and clean up? I know every country is, but Japan I feel like is a good example of a weak one. France. France has zero masculinity in it as we speak right now. France, Sweden. Basically, if the country is socialist, you can go in there and clean up easy. The women there are not used to masculine men, so they respond very well to it. Very, very well. Very, very well. By the way, this doesn't have to go to like country. You can go to states and do this. Go to like the artsy districts of New York and see how well you clean up. Those girls have to deal with fucking femboys and fucking male feminists all day. Running into a man that tells them like, "Yo, shut the fuck up." Having like running into a man that has the balls to offend them, pussies be having heartbeats. Are you kidding me? So you just think of any place that's like super left leaning, you'll clean up there every single time. You feel what I'm saying? Do you feel like the politics from Hollywood is actually what the market is seeking, or is it meant to uh, propagandize? Oh, it's like if you're talking about, it depends on who's making it for sure, but it's definitely meant to propagandize. They're just doing a bad. So okay, let me tell you what Hollywood's problem is right now, especially when I talked about superhero movies. They're trying their best to find a way to marry what people want with what they want to put in as propaganda. And I think on some level they might have struck gold with this last Superman movie. I don't agree with the last Superman movie, by the way, in case you're wondering. I have an entire video where I talk about it, both on TikTok, on YouTube, the whole thing. That entire movie is propaganda to make weak men feel better about being weak. That entire movie is designed to effeminize and emasculate masculine men. Right? That's what that movie is about. It goes so far as to completely not just demystify, but misrepresent what Superman is all about. Right? They're trying to push this agenda of like, oh, just the beauty of being human is being weak and making mistakes. It's like, no. The beauty of being human is that despite our weakness, we have done so many strong things. We have been able to take massive risks. Right? Superman in this last movie was a bitch. He was getting beat up. He was pouting and crying every chance he got. Right? There was a fucking imp, a galactic imp out there terrorizing the city. His friends could barely handle themselves. And what was he doing? Sulking at home. I can't find my dog. Like a little bitch. Alright? That's a perfect example of their agenda being placed into what people want. And what people want, by the way, they struggled with that Superman movie because what people want is to have an excuse for their weakness. They want to be told, oh, you're weak and that's okay. I'm a punk rocker. Yes, I am. Right? No, because Man of Steel, in contrast, shout out to Zack Snyder, the better director of the two, forces you to want to be better. You look at Superman going through all the things he went through in the Zack Snyder movies, Man of Steel especially, and you're like, damn, I need to do better for myself. I need to become a stronger man so I can protect my loved ones, so I can provide for them, so I can have the strength to choose good, because you can't be a good person if you're too weak to be dangerous to begin with. Only dangerous people can actually claim to be good, because the goodness is in being dangerous and choosing not to do dangerous things, as opposed to being genuinely a weak bitch. Like, both Zack Snyder's Superman and James Gunn's Superman were both in handcuffs at one point. The difference is Superman could break out at any chance he wanted to in the Snyderverse, and he did. In fact, at one point, he went, "Listen, I can break out of these whenever I want to, but I'm choosing to be here and to be questioned by you because it's the right thing to do, because humanity deserves answers." As opposed to James Gunn's Superman, who was genuinely handcuffed, but he couldn't escape. He was gonna get his ass whooped if he tried to escape. Right? Because he was weak. He was a weak bitch. He was a weak bitch. But anyway, my rant aside, the point is, they're trying to find a way to add the two, mix the two, because they know they can't go full agenda. No one will buy it. No one will buy into that. They try to do that with She-Hulk. You see how bad that worked out for them. They're not going to make that mistake again. But they can't let go of the agenda because that's why they make these movies. So they're trying to find ways to mix the two so they can seep it into your unconscious without you catching it. That's what they're trying to do. And until they find a good balance consistently, they're going to keep putting out shitty movies. DC's a little further ahead with the Superman movie. Right after the Fantastic Four movie came out from Marvel, you saw how shitty that fucking was. My God, that was hot garbage. That was ass. That was terrible. Right? So yeah, that's what they're trying to do. Let's see. My Dear's Action. My Dear's. I didn't read that one. PsyOp, I mean. Can you re-answer if you already did? What do you think about Death Note? Death Note is one of the first anime I ever watched, and the first psychological thriller, the first real psychological thriller in anime that I ever watched that put me on to psychological thrillers in anime. Death Note is the reason I love all the other psychological thriller in anime, like Monster, like One Outs, like No Game No Life, like Classroom of the Elite, right? Like we are just talking about Code Geass, right? Lelouch, V. Britannia. Death Note is the reason I went in that direction. It's the reason I like those anime over even shonen. Like now, because of that genre, because of Death Note, because I was watching shonen before that point, Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, you know, I mean, people don't count it, but Avatar: The Last Airbender, right? That was the kind of anime I was watching. Bleach, all that shit. And then I watched Death Note, and I realized, holy shit, there's a lot more different kinds of anime out there that isn't just power levels and fighting. And it's like, again, I love Naruto. Naruto is going to be my all-time favorite, right? But Naruto and Attack on Titan are going to be my all-time favorite. But again, why is Attack on Titan up there? Because it's more psychological thriller than just fighting. And the fighting is super realistic. You know what I mean? They actually implement jujutsu in there. It's pretty cool. But I don't watch anime because of the fighting, the animation is so good. Like motherfuckers was trying to sell me on JJK for the longest time because of the animation. I don't give a fuck about the animation. Give me a depth of story that I actually want to hear. Give me a story I can be invested in. Give me a plot that actually draws me in. Most anime I'll never watch because I don't even like hearing what the anime is about. I don't care. It's not interesting to me. Too much friction there for me to go through. Right? I think about the first time I heard about My Hero Academia. That was a shonen anime. But I remember thinking, yo, that's a unique story. A world full of people with powers. Most people have powers. There's a few people that don't. There's a hero society where the hero essentially works in conjunction with the police to destroy villains who also have quirks. So there's a system involved in that. And then there's a schooling system behind that, kind of like how there's a college football and the NFL. And then our hero doesn't have a quirk? I'm sad. I'm sad. I want to watch that. As opposed to fucking... Here's a major reason I haven't watched One Piece. Even the story doesn't sound that interesting to me. Okay, so they spend 90% of their time on the seas. They're pirates. And they're looking for fruit. Okay. I would watch it just to give it a chance because everyone says it's good. But then who says it's good? It's people that like fighting, animation. On top of that, the pacing is apparently the slowest in anime history. I'm not watching that shit. And there's 1,000 episodes? You're out of your fucking mind. It's not happening. I'm sorry. Right? I wouldn't blame you if you didn't want to watch Fairy Tail. Because I think of it like just another fairy tale. I enjoy fairy tale for the time being when I was younger. But growing up now, like who I am now, would I go and spend my time watching fairy tale? No. To entertaining as far as maybe like a comedy thing. It's on the same level as Konosuba. I'm not watching that shit for depth. I'd rather watch Erased. Now that's an anime I can get behind. You feel me? But that's just me personally though. You know, don't try to sell me on animation. I don't care. Give me a good story. YouTube, don't make me come over there and make y'all behave. Philip is threatening y'all, by the way. Lelouch is a strong man, but a true example of a powerful guy is Ayano Koji. Ayano Koji is a different level of power. Ayano Koji is who every man should try to be. Calm, focused, highly competent in every level. You put him in a game of Shogun, he'll go crazy. You put him in a game of chess, he'll go crazy. You put him in sport, he'll go crazy. You put him in hand-to-hand combat, he'll fucking go crazy. He's complete. Does that make sense? Like, that's a complete motherfucker. He's balanced. You know? California would be easy, huh? Very. Very. I've got to drive down there pretty soon. Oh, for sure. Very easy. They made Puberty Superman, who was raised by a feminist single woman. It's funny because, again, it's actually true. They made a Superman that was raised by a matriarch, a strong matriarch, as opposed to Zack Snyder's Superman, who was raised by a strong patriarch. And it shows. One is a bitch, one is a strong man. Right? It shows. Have you ever had two family members at the same time? Yes. Yes. I watched it once and try hard not to remember it. Superman is supposed to inspire strength, hope, and wisdom. Superman's father told him to let him die, and he listened. Bruh. I've not watched the Fantastic Four. What was it about? Basically, a dilemma between saving humanity or feeding humanity to... Not so humanity. A dilemma between saving humanity and giving up their son, or giving up their son. because Galactus wanted their son. I heard they make Johnny a normal guy, not a womanizer in Fantastic Four. Yes, they did, which already ruined it for me because that defeats the point of Johnny. Johnny is supposed to be a piece of shit. That's why his character is his character. Like, he's supposed to be a womanizer at its core. At his core, I mean. You know? Joseph Kent was a strong masculine father, which is why Superman is good. Without a strong masculine father, Superman becomes a villain. This idea that you can have a Superman with a matriarch is impossible. First of all, a matriarch would have never given him the same mandate or the same sense of urgency to keep his powers hidden as long as he did and to use it for the same levels of good. Because that's just not how women work. You think I'm lying? Look at your mothers, look at your sisters. Do they make you use your power as a man for good or for their benefit? Come on, I'll wait. So this idea that a woman will raise a man on how to be a good man, get the fuck out of here. It's not real. Talk about Hollywood propaganda. That's Hollywood propaganda. That is not fucking real. You know, not real at all. Let's see. Cause let's see. Do you feel like the politics from Hollywood? Okay, there we go. I already read that one. Because it seems like people at points were tired of the woke politics, but they still kept shoving it down our throats. They thought repetition would work. It didn't. What type of women have you had the most success with, and also what race? I do very well with very beautiful, high self-esteem women. What race? All of them. Because there's that in every single race. Hello, came to look for a video on resistance from women. Came straight from the course to y'all should get it for real. You heard it here, folks, from Abubakar. Go get the interview if you haven't. Bro said came. Pause. Type shit. Last Airbender is one of the few I saw besides Spirited Away. Spirited Away is a good anime. Oh, it's a good movie. I type fast from mobile phone. Oh, okay, so stop typing fast because I can barely read you, my friend. I can barely read you. Let's see. One Piece is arguably as good or even better than Naruto. Its story is the best written piece of fiction I've ever watched. Have you seen Attack on Titan? Can you compare it to Attack on Titan and tell me that it's better? You know, let me know. What's funny is how women can never provide a reason for disparaging masculine traits. They only insult, and even then, it's the goofy-looking ones you learn not to listen. Exactly. I'm happy you're learning that now. Never listen to ugly women. It doesn't matter what they have to say. They're ugly. You think there's a difference between Las Vegas and places in Cali? Vegas seems stronger to me than Cali. It is. It is. He was mother, or his mother, is that what you mean? Was always telling him to F humanity. Superman's mother, I mean. To F humanity? Who are we talking about? Oh, in the movie, yes. The biggest reason I haven't watched Fantastic Four is Johnny Storm is not a piece of shit. Honestly, valid. My sisters made me change my voice tone because I was threatening. I was 13. Isn't that what women do? Is to make you more accommodating for them, which essentially changes your masculine core, right? So be careful with that. Be very careful. Joseph enforced responsibility on him to Martha. He was just her boy, essentially. Exactly. I had so much BS to change about me. Wasn't raised by my father figures and stable, or in a stable living environment. I'm sorry to hear that, man. But I'm happy you've gone through the work to change all that. You know what I'm saying? How long have I been live? About 3 hours and 13 minutes. And yes, I can see that on YouTube. I can't see that on TikTok without scrolling, which I don't want to. I finished AOT and I can tell you it's close, but One Piece will make you leak from your eyes. All right, fair enough. Well, I'm not watching One Piece regardless. I'm watching One Piece. Let them condense that shit, then I'll watch it. You know. Every time things got hard, Martha told him to quit. In the New Superman movie, yeah, that's what women do. And there's no way a strong masculine Superman can be raised under those circumstances. It's not possible. You need a father to tell you, like, yeah, it's hard, but keep going. Like Joseph Kent in Man of Steel. It's hard, keep going. Yes, this tornado is about to swallow me up. Don't do it. Show restraint. Keep your secret. Right? Let's see. A fire. Indeed. I messed up. Read the manga. One Piece manga? I'm not reading manga of any anime. I don't have the time to sit there and just do this. That's not happening. I'd rather consume the media while it's being animated for me. It's faster that way. I gotta save my time. Need to drop the engagement system in your school community. Our school community. He did say our. Just let me know when you're ready. Type shit. We'll talk about that. I checked her too hard. Now she's not talking to me. I thought they like that. You just said you checked her too hard. It's one thing to check her. It's another thing to check her too hard. Why would they like it when you do it too hard? You know, hard is one thing. Too hard is another. I'm not even gonna say pause after that. You feel me? That's a villain of Unstoppable Evil. She didn't even see the problem of that. Exactly. The 2020 to 2023 era of self-improvement is literally just men benefiting off the psychological damage of other men being raised by women. Literally. Literally. You feel me? It created some good, but, you know, hopefully everyone's like a little more forgiving of themselves. Let's see. Ayo! It's me, Chop Life. Naso, Alpha. Oh, how you doing, man? All right, but unfortunately, I do have to leave now. I should have left like about 10 minutes ago, but I do have to leave now, guys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know we've had a lot of fun. It's been wonderful. It's been great. Thank you guys for staying the entire time. I'm very happy and grateful that you guys are here, and you guys have stayed here, and we've had a lot of fun. The 21st has begun a series of events that I'm going to ask you guys to pay very close attention to, but also pay no mind to. A lot of things are going to happen in the coming days that are going to be massive distractions. Massive distractions. I want you to keep your eyes on God, on Christ, right? That's what we call Christ consciousness. To continue to remember that you are a child of God, okay? As long as He's with you, nothing can be against you. Do not fall for the illusions of this world. They are not real. This world is not as real as the other one. All right? So, until I see you again, it's me, Jason Favorite Scientist. Can I get you guys to say it at the same time as me? Or am I being wishful in my thinking there? Anyway, until then, it's me, Jason Favorite Scientist. Do with all this information what you must.